Okay.
We're live
We're
again?
live.
Okay,
Well, not live, but we're recording.
alright.
Excellent.
I'm gonna assume we're starting with the sheriff, so.
Yes,
Good morning.
and I'm going to take the first couple, 4 or 5 minutes of my budget time to educate you guys a little bit on what we got coming down the pipe.
Okay,
And there's bad news, good news, but I think you're gonna like the good news. So, before I get going into the budget, you probably noticed on page 4, second line from the bottom, I increased one of the maintenance budgets from 12,000 up to 35,000. We can talk about that when we get there, to see if you wanna adjust that a little bit, or we do have another fund for 50,000 on building and maintenance, and then we got that contingency fund. But let me explain to you what's going on. So, for those of you that weren't aware, our jail is about 25 years old now, and we're starting to have a lot of mechanical issues back there. And I'm gonna give a little praise to these two guys, because I don't know what we do without them, because they're able to fix a lot of our issues back there. But when this jail was built, what we discovered is that the locks that were designed and put into our jail, and there's probably estimating 65 to 70 mechanical locks within our jail that run all of our secure doors, and they're starting to fail. Maybe occasionally one here, one there, a couple here, a couple there. What we're finding out when they fail, they're very expensive to fix. So I approached Tammy last fall, I think it was, I don't remember what month, October, November, somewhere in there, that I did some research, and to replace these locks, we were talking possibly in the neighborhood of $7,500 each. Well, you do the math in your head, 65, 60-something locks at $7,500 a piece, that's a big chunk of money. So I gotta give credit to Bailey, she's not here right now, but I put her on the task, and she did a lot of research on where these locks can be repaired and how they can be replaced. And what we found out is that the company that does it charges a minimum of $7,500 just to come on site and look at your problems and see what you gotta do. So doing a little more research, I found out that, well, hey, if we get someone that's certified to fix these locks through the lock company, we can do it ourselves. So I approached Tammy about it last fall. We sent Will and Barry out to California. They were gone for about a week. They both got certified, and I'm gonna let them kind of take over a little bit here and show you what we're looking at. But some of these locks and mechanisms that we have back there, and plumbing issues that we're also having, are starting to fail. But long story short, the reason I want them here is that $7,500 to have them just come fix it. We're now hoping we can get that down to about $300 to $500 to fix these locks, because Barry and Will are gonna be able to do it. They're now certified, and we bought the equipment to test them and to make sure that we can replace these locks as needed. We've already started to replace some, because they're important security locks that have to be replaced. And they just kind of went through it with me this morning, but Barry, why don't you go ahead and show them these 3 different types of locks. I just want you to be able to see what kind of mechanisms we're talking about and how expensive they are, and then just take a couple minutes to show you what they're like.
So I don't have these two here tore apart. This is actually brand new. This is our control room lock right here. You kind of see how they are. They're all electronics, all motors. Everything reads light switches, tells the panels what's going on. That's how they unlock it. This lock here actually has failed. It's not opening completely. You can see it's stuck right now, wide open. It shouldn't be. It should be out. So this was the problem in the control room. This lock here was $3,800 just for replacing this lock. I just got the rebuild kit for this lock. Actually, I got the wrong one, so they're sending me the new one this week. It was $317. So we went from $3,700, almost $3,800, to rebuild this entire thing to $317. So that's what we can do.
And the reason we can do that now is because they went and got certified to be able to do this.
And we got the equipment to test them without having to go plug it in take apart the door jamb, plug it in the wall, have our jailer cycle it, let's watch the problem. I can do it at my desk now. This lock here, same deal. It doesn't function at all. I hooked it up this morning. This one had been pulled before I started. It has 0 function in it. So this one has to be completely disassembled, figure out, rebuild the kit on this one. What was he saying, about 500? This is the most locks in our cell doors. These are the locks here that actually go in our cell door. This is a brand new one, $1,900 for this lock. We have every single one of these are in the cell doors. Big ones are like big secure door, ring door, exterior doors, control room, that stuff. These are in like hallway doors,
Pass-through doors.
dual keys, that's how you can tell. This has a single key outside of the jail. So, but these alone, this rebuilt kit, I believe you said on these were
800.
800 rather than 1,800 for the lock. We're also having some water problems. These valves here, we got leaky ones. I can show you pictures. I have pictures of all this stuff if you guys would like to see it. This is air actuated valve, controls sinks in every cell. Each one of these were $1,100. These aren't rebuildable. They're replaced.
And
But
they're all coming.
there's, what do we decide? There's probably
30
30 of
some.
these at 1,100 a piece. We got another one. These are all, so these locks here, this brand new one. This here doesn't have the same type of switches in as these two locks. So they have what's called a door position switch. These go into the top of your door. And these little things here communicate to that lock and then tell the lock that the door is open or closed. And that's telling our jailers that their door is secured or unsecured. These were 900 a piece.
Oh my.
So just the jail cell lock alone, this lock and this, you're at $2,700, $2,800.
Per door.
Per door.
And how many doors did you say?
30 some doors.
30 some doors.
Oh my gosh.
We have some computer chips, which I didn't bring them because I didn't want to break them, damage them over here. But we do have some of these computer chips that are failing and relays that are failing. I didn't get a good price on those because I'm still trying to dig them all up, figure out where they're at, but there's 65 of these. So there's a lot of those. My assumption is, from the quick research I did, there are probably 300 to 500 a piece for those as well. We got another water mixing valve that I just saw the other day. Every time I open something up there, I find an issue. We got a water mixing valve. That was, remember that price I told you? That's $1,400
Around there, yeah.
for just a hot water mix valve, and there's 15 to 20 of those. So, and I know one for sure is leaking right now. I haven't opened up all the doors to find more of the leaks. But that's kind of where we're at on price of all this stuff, is just,
That's why we bumped
astronomical.
that budget up, because we talked about it.
Like, I think we're in quite a bit already this year in these locks, just to replace the ones that were broke, and now we can try and start fixing some of the ones that we took out, which is something we needed anyway, was to have a spare on the shelf. You know, it doesn't hurt to have one in case the cell door does go down, and we have one we can just grab, go put it in, order a repair kit, fix that one we took out, now we have the spare on the shelf again.
And this isn't something that just popped up last fall. Ron and Will have been pre-warning me about this ever since I got elected as sheriff. Because again, we've got a 25-year-old building, and these locks and plumbing and everything that they've showed you this morning are used 7 days a week. And some of them are starting to fail, some of them are starting to corrode. The other issue that Barry explained to me, I had to go ahead and order a machine that can test these locks.
And I got a picture of that if you guys would like to see, but it's just a little square box that
And
allows me to cycle them.
And what was the cost of that approximately?
That was $3,800, I believe, for the machine.
So we had to invest a little money in this, but again, it was $7,500 minimum just to have the company come out and troubleshoot each lock.
You can kind of see this allows me to cycle the locks. So
It comes with every
Yeah, I mean,
adapter to,
every
so it
adapter,
fits
it
all
tells
the
me how,
locks.
you know, what their control screen will read. It reads it just like a control screen. So we should be able to test, rebuild.
So what our plan is to have everything that we need to replace them ourselves. We've already did the training, we've got the machine now that can do it. We've got two gentlemen here that have the knowledge, and I'm gonna put a plug in for them that they're not getting paid enough. Because if we had companies come in to do this stuff, you're talking minimum of $100 an hour and travel costs and all that kind of stuff. But what our plan is try to make sure we have all this stuff on hand so that when these locks start failing, and they already are, they can fix them quickly. I'm not gonna describe to you what kind of liabilities we could look at, because that's what I briefly talked about to you this morning about some of the things I'd like to share with you, but I don't really want it out in public about, well, this is a liability issue for the jail. No, we're working on it. We got a plan put together and we're gonna try to get it fixed and make sure that as things fail, we can immediately get them replaced as quick as possible. The other issue we can't bring it over here, is we've been warned now by the fire marshal that we have to do something with our, you guys can probably explain it better than me.
Cancel hood and
The suppression system.
Yeah, so our hood in our oven is not up to today's codes. So suppression system was designed wrong when it was put in, now they're dinging us on it. They want the pipes all moved outside the hood, we'd have to buy new stuff for lining the hood for the filters. Costs an astronomical amount of money to clean those hood every year, gotta do it twice a year according to fire inspection. So I think we kinda came up with a little idea, but
Yeah,
we're still in the works.
We don't prepare our meals in the jail, we don't cook meals there, we just prepare them for the inmates. So we're looking at probably removing that suppression system, cause it's not needed if we don't prepare meals in there, or cook meals. And then maybe just go to some type of a stove that does not have a stove top burners, because that's why you have to have the suppression system. So that on the rare occasions when we do have to prepare a meal, for example, when Hy-Vee is closed, it usually only happens twice a year, but the rare occasion that we would have to, we'd still be legal, but we're probably just gonna remove that suppression system, I believe is what you guys are
I
recommending
think
too.
so, yeah.
And the fire marshal was okay with that, as long as we have a plan put together to eventually remove that system. I don't know what year it was put in, it wasn't put in when the building was built new, I think we.
I think it was like 05 is what I was finding, yeah.
Yeah, 05 or 06 it was installed, and it doesn't meet the standards of today's, that's why she warned us last year, she wrote us up this year and said, put a plan together before the next time I come back so that I know it's gonna get taken care of. So, again, rather than spend all that money on it, we think it's gonna be cheaper for the county just to remove it. If for some reason down the road we need to, start cooking meals in there, then we'd have to look at what type of system we'd have to put in at that time, but I don't foresee that happening.
Well, the small amount it's used, I mean, I think it's like 1,700 a year to clean the thing.
Right.
So everything's just adds up big time on that.
And that's just one of the other small things with all this other stuff we showed you that, you know, instead of that $300,000-400,000 to do it all at once, we're gonna try to do it over a period of time. They've got the training now, the equipment that we need to do it, they can order the kits to replace and repair them. Not these, you said these can't be repaired, right? These have to be replaced. But these locks could be tremendously cheaper by ordering the repair kits and having these guys do it themselves. We get a printout every day of what locks are failing, and there's another liability issue that if we never get down the road and open record request, I'd have to be able to show, okay, these locks were failing, why weren't they fixed? And it's gonna put all of us in a liability issue. So that's why we're coming up with a plan. I did increase that. If you guys wanna bring it down a little or discuss it, I'm open to that, but that's what we thought we'd need to start doing this on an annual basis, and start replacing all these locks. So I just wanted them to come over and help educate you guys, and we thank you, gentlemen, for coming over and showing all that.
Yep.
Then
Thanks,
we can
guys.
start talking about budget.
You guys reached out at all on, any potential grants for equipment upgrades and stuff like that, or replacement?
Have not, I have not. There's only, do you know how many companies there are in America that do
For
these?
what? For the
facility locks?
One.
They're,
It's
so
Southern
the one we
Folders.
use is the main supplier for all the locks. They're the main supplier. You can go to different companies, but they're 6 to 8 months out on a lock. These guys are,
They order
I
them by
ordered
the
on
truckload.
Friday and I had my lock on Monday.
And what I've been impressed with them so far is they're willing to work with these guys on the phone and tell them what they need to do rather than,
Yeah, they have a text line, I call them up, I text them pictures, I show them what's going on. They send me diagrams, walk me through diagrams. They were teaching me how to jump wires to figure out
Why it's
localized
doing
problems.
what.
So,
They're very helpful.
Yeah, yeah.
thanks guys, appreciate it. So that was page 4, that was really the only line item that I increased significantly, but again, if you guys wanna come up with a different plan, you know, I know we already have a $50,000 building maintenance, I think I'm at about 50% of that through this year already. So so that one gets close to used up every year anyway. So, I just didn't want them to have to sit there the whole time, that's why I wanted to do that first, but otherwise, if you look through my budget line items, that one was the only significant increase. Other than obviously wages and IPers, FICA, health insurance, that kind of stuff. The only other question I had, Tammy, was on page 1, second one down, other help. That got decreased from 10,000 to 1,000.
That's probably a typo,
That was probably a typo.
yeah.
That line item is just simply there to pay for outside agencies or our reserves. If we would have some type of an event in the county where I'd have to pay outside help to come in and help us. It doesn't very seldom, like right now, we've only used 11% of it for the year. But that's up to you guys if you wanna reduce it. That's always been at 10,000 since I've been here, just to have that cushion if you have to have outside help. Or if we have to pay our reserves for an extended period of time. It'd be like if we had to secure a crime scene, or if we had a small town got hit by a tornado and we had to provide security 24 hours a day for an extended period of time, those kind of things. The only other comment or question that I wanted to bring up with you guys was on page page 4 we just did, that was with the building maintenance. Page 5, under clerks, administration clerks, be the third line down for, it says Lori and Kira, but that's now Mackenzie and Kira. The only concern I have there is, and I don't want this to sound negative because I'm certainly not, I appreciate the fact that the board has agreed to change the longevity for employees. I think that's great. But what it did is it made my office managers now gonna make less money than my assistant. Because they were so close anyway, like within $1,000, but because she's been here for 20 plus years, that longevity is gonna put her ahead of my manager. And the office manager position was just hired last April. We opened it up to county employees, we opened it up to the public. My assistant did not apply for it, didn't want the extra responsibilities and duties. So as an administrator, I'm like, okay, now I have an office manager that's gonna make about $1,500 less than the assistant. That bothers me. Maybe it doesn't bother you, but it does me. So if we do the 3% recommended pay raise that you guys are recommending for employees, they were to stay the same, but when you add the longevity, because she's been here 22, 24 years, that's gonna add an extra $1,500 above with the management position. I'd like to try to correct that, but obviously that'd be up to the decision of you guys, because then we're talking one particular employee that would need more than the 3%. It's just something I wanted to bring to your attention, because when I did all the math on it, it's about $1,499 difference. The assistant will make more than the management. The only other item that I wanted to discuss, I thought there was a third one, now I gotta find it. Nope, that's it. The second one down we addressed, that's probably a typo. The building note budget on page 4, I'm open to discussion there. The reason I went to 35,000 is because when we did the math on what it would take to replace the ones that are broke now, we're looking at about 25 to 28,000 just to get everything up to speed and fixed now. And then obviously we would need something in line each year to fix those 60 to 70 door locks, 30 some water mechanisms, the other hallway doors and that kind of stuff. It's just one of those things where you've got a building that's used 7 days a week and it's now 25 years old and some of the mechanics are gonna start to fail on it. The one thing that Barry and Will didn't mention is we also have an issue with the wiring. For you to understand it, everywhere there's a lock on the door, there's a wiring system that goes through our control panel. 2 or 3 years ago, if you guys, those of you that were on the board, we replaced that control panel. It was $80-some thousand. And then we also replaced all of the HVAC system on that building. On the roof, there was 16 units, I believe. We were very fortunate that we had the ARPA money and that the committee allowed the HVAC system, which was around $800,000, and the control panel, which is around $80,000. that was all replaced at one time with the ARPA money. So that, we were very fortunate to have that money available. Now we're looking at all these mechanisms in the jail that are gonna need to be replaced. And, I can research, Josh, to answer your question, to see if there are grants out there available for detention facilities to do this kind of stuff. The company that we're working with, that's how this all got started, is when we first contacted them last fall, it was $7,500 minimum, just to have them come out here and troubleshoot and start looking at fixing locks. And that would be each time we'd have to have them come out and repair or fix something. So that's what spearheaded the, how can we do this cheaper? And I approached Tammy about, if we can get these guys certified, they're willing to fix them themselves. And just in the last 2 weeks, it's amazing how they've educated me on what we can start doing now, for, you know, for that extra 25,000 compared to the 400,000 if we had to do it all at once. Does that make sense? I mean, if we had to have that company come out here and let's just fix them all at once and have it done, well, we'd be looking at a big chunk of money. Instead, with their knowledge, I think we can do a few each year and get things back to, you know, on a rotation of what needs to be fixed first. Obviously, there's 3 main security doors in our jail that we have to make sure are secured at all times, and that's the exits and entrances. And there's one back by the Sallyport garage door, and there's one back in the southeast corner. If there's an emergency where we have to call fire or ambulance, that's the door that the fire or ambulance would come through. And then the other one is on the interior of the office. We call it the Ray door, because when the building was built, there was not a door there, so there's no way for us to get in between the 2 buildings. And Ray Frederick at the time said, why don't we put a door here? The architect and engineer's like, yeah, good idea. So we call it the Ray door. Those 3 are the ones that we have to make sure are absolutely repaired immediately if they fail. The other interior doors, we need to fix as quickly as possible if they do fail. I mentioned earlier, it's all on an electronic system, and I get emails anytime a door is failing or not secured, and that's obviously documented. And the good news is, now that we're starting to correct it, the emails are getting less and less. Any questions on the budget? I'd be happy to try to answer, but those are the 3 areas that again, I apologize for bringing them in here, but I knew they could explain it to you guys better than I could as far as why we need to get these.
Yeah,
Look at
I
these
don't,
locks.
I don't have any concerns on the maintenance or any of that stuff. That makes total sense to me. I think it's probably a good plan to chip away at it as we can, as
Yep.
they're needed. On page 3, the top of adult correctional services, we've got an 11% increase there. Can you explain that, or what goes into that?
Page 3,
Yep,
yep, I have to, I think let me look at I add overtime for her position because she, in the past, has had to cover a lot of our jail shifts. I don't wanna tell you wrong, so I'm gonna find the sheet here.
I guess, is it still a 3% raise plus the
It's a 3% raise.
for her base
Her
salary?
longevity is,
It only.
I'm trying to find it so I don't tell you wrong here.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Her longevity is, I think, around 25 cents. But I also budget overtime because when a jailer calls in sick or we have transports, Bailey has to come in on weekends, help fill shifts. She also gets on-call time because she takes care of all of our mental health transports. So I budget an extra amount of money for overtime for that position. Hopefully not needing to use it, but it's there if we do. Oh, I can't find her sheet. But yes, it was a 3% and then the rest of it is overtime.
Wouldn't you have budgeted overtime and stuff in the last, or the current fiscal year?
Okay, her longevity is just under $500. Her salary is 65, and the 3% brings it up to 67.9.
Okay.
So and then with the longevity, it brings it up to 68,356. So that extra 10,000 is overtime.
Okay.
I mean, I can reduce it if you
So we
want,
would-
but obviously
Well,
it
I'm
would,
just trying to compare between this
Yep.
year and last year, so did you budget for less overtime in the current fiscal year, I'm guessing?
I budgeted a little more because we've had so much issue with jail staff. This is another issue that I'd love to discuss with you, but I'm not gonna do it in a public setting because of what we've had a huge turnaround in jail staff. We're gonna face even a bigger one because we've got 6 employees that are all eligible for retirement, probably within this next year. Remember about 4 or 5 months ago, I came to you guys and had it approved to get some part-time staff. So what we've done is we've tried to, replace, currently we have 12 full-time positions, 11 of them are full-time, and then we have 2 that are part-time, hoping that one of those will eventually turn into full-time. And when those 5 to 6 people start retiring here within this next year, we're gonna struggle to replace it because we don't get a lot of applicants. And some of them that we do, there's too many red flags. And we've had a turnaround in jail staff, we've had a termination, twice within this year, and we've also had situations where people have just left employment. Decided they didn't like that type of an environment or job. So it's one of those where, how do you plan ahead? Because you don't know who's gonna retire when. We try to ask our employees to give us a good heads up. Some of them do and some don't, but it's just one of those situations where we've had a lot of replacements in the last 6 months. And we're trying to prepare for what's coming down the road.
Yep. That makes sense, I was just kinda looking.
And
at
because of that, unfortunately, Bailey and Kira are the only 2 certified jailers that I can put back there to fill a shift. So if somebody calls in sick or they're absent or we got transports, I only have those 2 people to fill a shift. Now, the plan we put together is I have 2 part-time staff that are that we can hopefully fill in so that there won't be as much overtime, but I'm just budgeting in case, the what ifs.
Okay.
For example, we were 3 jailers short for about 3 months, so there's a lot of shifts to fill during that 3 months.
My question just is, in 24-25, there was like a difference of what you budgeted to what you spent of about $370,000. And then this year, if you're on target to, which I can't say that, you know, it says 43% of the budget is spent. But that's about 6 months of the year. If you spend the same amount the next 6 months, you'd be on target to roughly give back like 543. Now, that's not saying that's what's gonna happen, but, and then this year, it's an extra like 285,000. Do you think there's any room there? I mean,
Since I've been sheriff, we've averaged around a 10 or 11% ending fund balance, average, okay? I would anticipate that would be the same here, even though our budget went up 262,000, I believe it was. I would anticipate that there still would be that 10 to 11% ending fund balance, I would hope. One of the things that I think it's my duty and responsibility as an elected official for sheriff, for public safety, is that we plan for the emergencies, plan for the hazards, plan for what could happen to us, and then hope and keep our fingers crossed that none of that comes true, and we do have a positive ending fund balance. I would anticipate that should be in that 10% range again, at the end of this budget. I would hope that it would be. I can't sit here and tell you for sure that it will be. I don't know what's gonna happen over this next year. Things pop up all the time. Last week, I had to send 2 deputies to Southern Illinois to pick up a federal prisoner, bring him back to state prison because I'm court ordered to do that. Next week, I'm sending 2 deputies to Southern Oklahoma to pick up a prisoner, court ordered, and bring him back on warrants. So there's things like that come up all the time that you kind of prepare for and then hope that you don't need to use it. So every year that I've been sheriff, we've averaged about a 10% ending fund balance. If you look back at the 4 or 5 years that I've done budgets, it's been an average of around 10 or 11%. I would hope that it would be the same with this budget. So if our budget went up, I think it was 4.1, hopefully there's gonna be $400,000 to $500,000 kicked back, ending fund balance at the end of this year. Now, I'd love to say, well, let's just cut that, but then what are we gonna do when all these things come up? I'm gonna be in here maybe once or twice a month or every 3 months and asking for budget amendments. I don't know. that's what, all the 38 years I've been here, that's what sheriffs have done, is usually had about a 10% ending fund balance.
Did you say anything, I don't know if I missed it, vehicles for this next year?
We did go through.
Vehicles I didn't raise, it's still at 300,000. It's one of those things that I watch closely. We're trying to, if you remember right, we got hit hard with COVID because we couldn't replace vehicles. And then boom, all of a sudden they all came in and we now have 4 of our fleet are 2023s. The oldest vehicle in our fleet right now is my patrol truck. It's a 2019, I just flipped 180,000 miles on it. I like it, I'm purposely not, moving it down the road yet because, I wanna make sure that, our deputies are equipped with everything they need. But here's what's happened in patrol vehicles, in the last 10 years. We now are, required to upfit these vehicles with all of the equipment that if we don't have it, you're not gonna be able to press charges or file charges or bring it to the county attorney to prosecute it. Between the camera systems that we now have to have, the body cameras that the officers need to wear, and all the electronic systems within the patrol vehicles, it averages between $20,000 and $25,000 just to upfit a patrol car. Then you throw in the cost, they're right, I think the last one you guys just approved was around $50,000, $51,000, and that's on a government bid. Well, then you add the $20,000, $25,000 to upfit it, you're looking at $75,000. We try to only order 2 vehicles per year in our rotation, so that's about 50%. The other 50% goes for maintenance, repairs, fuel, and all the other normal costs that come with maintaining a fleet. We have 14 vehicles in our fleet. 2 of those are what I call reserve vehicles that are, one is used by reserve deputies, the other one is an unmarked, the only unmarked vehicle we have, and we don't use it for patrol, we use it for jail staff and other people going to schools. The only time we use it for patrol is if we have a vehicle broke down. And those things happen. I mean, this last year, we had a patrol vehicle sideswiped by a manure spreader, $25,000 damage, it was all out of commission for 3 months. Deputies hit deer, they have issues with it. We've had exhaust issues with the Tahoes that need to be repaired. So things come up, but that budget, I would like to increase it, but I'm gonna try to get by with what we can. We're only gonna order 2 vehicles a year.
So you are planning on ordering 2 more?
We've already paid for 1 out of this current budget, and I'll have 1 more coming out before the spring, that we'll
Okay.
order before spring.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's, what percentage have we used already?
You're at
34%.
Yeah, I've got 1 upfitting that we haven't paid for yet, that will probably be around that 25,000. And then I'll order another vehicle coming up probably here in March or April, out of this budget, and then so that'll be another 75,000 between purchase price and upfitting
And
price.
then you're planning 26, 27, and get another vehicle, another 2 vehicles?
2 vehicles each budget year. Each budget year, we try to do 2 vehicles. It works out with the rotation that we try to get 2 every year, so that they don't get too old or too many miles on them. We've been trading them in this, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember who told me this, but I think you wanted the current Dodge that we're taking out of the rotation right now? Was that supposed to go to the sanitarium?
I think,
Oh,
I think that
yeah.
had been mentioned. I don't know if any
Okay.
decision was made on that, but I think it was,
Cause right now, we have a vehicle being upfitted that's already paid for, it's already out of this budget. And once it's upfitted, then I'll have a Dodge 2020, it's either 20 or 21, I'll have a Dodge pickup that I thought I was directed last year that was gonna go to the sanitarium. So
Yeah.
I didn't trade it in.
I remember we had that conversation, that vehicle's
Yeah.
on its last legs.
So that one's available for the sanitarium, otherwise we trade them in. We typically get between 10 to 12,000 trade-in, if they have that 150 to 160,000 miles on them, we'll get, about a $10,000 to $12,000 trade-in value on them, which comes off of that. I don't have the bids for this coming, but the current budget we're in right now, they're about 51,000 for a vehicle, and then about another 25 to outfit them. Lot of, if Derek was here, he could answer this better. There's a lot of technology that goes into these vehicles now that it's changed dramatically since my first patrol car. And now it's just so much electronics and upfitting in these vehicles that it's unbelievable what it takes to put them on the road.
Well, giving us some food for thought, and yeah, that's good. I don't know, you have more questions for Roger?
Just, do you have the breakdown of how many family, how many single for your health
Oh.
insurances?
I don't have that breakdown, I rely on the auditor's office, but, cause I don't know, I don't have privilege to who has family and who has single. I can get it, I mean, I'm sure Melissa has it, but, do you want it right now?
Oh, I just didn't, well, okay, there's dollar amounts in there, so I just.
Right, and I
I'm
got
just
that
trying
from the
to
auditor's office.
Kind of, oh, okay.
They give me a printout of each employee of what their salary is and what the IPER spike on life insurance, health insurance, what their total benefit package is. So I can look at each one of these and determine who's single and who's family. If you
Well,
wanted me to.
just for balancing purposes, trying to figure out the dollar amounts, I guess.
This year, the letter I got was that we were just supposed to put 15% on health insurance. So the numbers for health insurance on my line item are 15% increase. So I don't, last I heard, you guys didn't know what was gonna happen with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
I gave you the amounts for health insurance in that
This is
email.
what I have.
I see it's a flat 15% on all the health insurance lines, so
Well, it is, but that doesn't, I mean,
that's not.
No, that's
gonna
not.
factor singles
That's
or
not.
families.
Yeah.
no, we need it budgeted to who has family, who
Yeah.
has single, for it to be accurate amounts.
Cause that's just assuming last year's gonna be the same as this
Right.
year.
Yeah.
Exactly,
And-
so, I mean, we really need to make sure that that's balanced and correct, it's not just for Roger, it's every department. I mean,
Correct.
that needs to be,
Yeah, I can go through and figure that out. I was just, note I had was add 15% for workshop purposes, to give us an idea where they're gonna be at. Cause,
will that be okay as
do
long
you
as
guys
nothing
know yet
changes?
what's gonna happen with health insurance?
No, we're hoping to meet next couple weeks, hopefully, is what Doug kinda
Michelle's supposed to
said.
get back to
Yeah.
Doug and let us know.
But we put in what we're hoping is the worst case scenario.
Right, that's what I did with that 15%. Hopefully it's a lot less than that.
Okay.
Anything else?
I don't know if you guys have any thoughts, the one thing Roger brought up was on page 5 about his clerks under administration.
Oh.
I will stay out of that conversation, but I just wanted to say that that was something he brought up.
It's,
Well, it's hard to take away from that many years of longevity, and it's like, you can't always chase, okay, this needs to make more than this based upon that person's longevity. I mean, I mean, fortunately for you, your office, and, you know, you've had that longevity there. I can't see changing it. I really can't, based upon that. I mean, she's getting that longevity because she's been here that long.
their salaries are what they are, and,
Yeah,
They were
I mean,
very
the longev-
close to begin with,
Right.
but the longevity.
no, I
pushed them
understand
up.
that, yeah.
Yep.
And so, the longevity just is what it is, and I
mean,
get,
that was the
I,
point of longevity, to reward those that are, you know.
Stay.
right.
Yeah.
Stay and the experience and.
Cause if your office manager was here for 22 years, then you wouldn't have that.
Understand that, but there's
Difference.
also a huge difference in job description, and any employee in the county had the opportunity to apply for that position. And maybe that's one of the reasons they didn't, is because they saw that it wasn't compensated as well as the assistant in that office. And that's just my personal opinion on it, is the assistant shouldn't make more than the management, because there's a lot more responsibilities on the management side of it. But that's just my opinion. You guys set the budget. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that although we're appreciative of the longevity, but it doesn't affect all employees. For example, you guys remember we negotiated a contract now with the deputies, so they no longer have longevity within their pay scale. It's negotiated through the contract now, that pay scale. instead of longevity. But yeah, it's just, something I wanted to bring to your attention, that it caught my eye right away, so.
Sure. Okay. Well, I think that's all today. So, unless anyone has something further.
Okay,
Okay, thanks, Roger.
thank you, appreciate it.
Yep,
And I didn't mean to burden you or bother you with all that mechanical
no,
issue
I'm
with the jail.
I'm glad you brought
I
him in
told
to do that.
Barry
That's-
and Will
that's good.
that, you know what, let's bring it over there to show them what we're talking about, because sometimes you just talk about it, you can't quite comprehend
Visualize
it.
it, yep.
Those systems are unfortunately gonna start failing back there, so we gotta put a plan together on how to replace it and fix it.
Nope, that was interesting, so thank you. Okay.
Sorry if I went over.
You're ahead of time.
Alright, thank you.
Oh, okay,
Just so you know.
okay, okay. Alright, Veterans Affairs, you guys are next. Looks like you brought a few friends today.
I did, I'd like to introduce to the board, I got Commissioner Gary Forsyth, West Bend, Jim Hartshorn, Sway City, Troy Brandt here in Algona. Brought them along, they're an integral part in helping me get this, put together. Nothing really, major in the way of some significant changes. I did, on page 1, on the, administration of military vets under the 3,200, 399.21, I did increase that by $300 because that's the radio postage and newspaper fund that I use for advertising. Was able to reduce underneath that following line item number, 413.21, I was able to reduce that by $200 on the median mileage. And some of my adjustments, we're looking at last year, the year before, the execution percentage thereof, and if I think I could reduce where applicable. Tammy did provide the guidance on page 1, reference the FICA and the IFRS and the health, as well as the life insurance and everything, so that's pretty much self-explanatory, and I as well plan for that 3% as directed. So no real questions regarding salaries or anything on the administrative side regarding health or IFRS. Supplies, I left that amount under 260.21 on page 1. I left that amount, I'm at just about 50% execution rate so far for this year, so I think I'm sitting okay on the supply account. On page 2, I did increase under 422.21 the education and training. Some of that is increased and also being voted as a district president on the executive board for the state association. I'm required to attend some of the executive board meetings, a little more travel. There's some additional training that goes with that. And so, other than that, going down on page 2, no other significant changes to speak of. The miscellaneous under 391.21 is still grade markers. We've allocated 1,000. I'm able to get a girl with flags and a box of markers for Veterans Day in preparation for that for about $962 shipping. So that works out pretty well. I just got to get it ordered. Telephone, same, no change there because that's handled by IT. When we start taking a look at the utilities and services to veterans regarding food, rent, burial fund, as well as utilities and assistance, I didn't make any changes there. I think $1,000 more than covers that, with the $4,000 available for indigent veterans if we should have to bury. Just so that you know how I arrived at that $4,000 number, that would allow me to bury 2 veterans at $2,000 apiece. VA awards a service-connected burial benefit of $2,000. Why reinvent the wheel? So I thought, worst case, if I have to, I've got enough to cover everybody for that period. Page 3, all in, for the proposed budget for this next cycle, we're probably looking at, between the various changes that I mentioned, the changes in FICA and wages and such, there would be a 4.81% increase to the overall budget, which, if I did my math right, is about $4,786. Subject to your questions regarding the budget itself, the only other thing I would point out is on the second set of sheets where the 10K State of Iowa grant is listed. I have that forecasted, but I'll be honest with you folks, I don't know how much longer IDVA is gonna maybe fund that. There's discussion, if you will, about not providing that 10K because the offices were established now and operating. I don't know if that's a proposal in the 801 administrative rules changes that they're talking about. We have a meeting with IDVA here in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping to get some information on that. The state training grant of 3K, that still remains in place. I have submitted reimbursement back to IDVA for the county. And so the county got reimbursed so far $2,730.29 of that 30K. I couldn't make up the difference on that $265 because for some reason they operate calendar year. I'm operating on the government fiscal year, and I had no way between now and the end of December to burn $265 for training because I was busy doing other stuff. But at least they reimbursed pretty much most of it. We have had a little bit of a reduction in VA transports. So I have adjusted and will probably look at that further as it applies to the mileage with respect to the fuel costs associated with the car and that sort of thing. There for a while when I first started, folks, we were running 7-8 vets a month. Then we dropped down to 2, now it's 1-ish. And to be honest, part of that decline, my vets died. Some of those veterans are also in care facilities 24/7 now, and they're being cared by other means. So that's not to preclude newer vets coming in, certainly, you know, that may need that. One that I can think of in particular, but that's the decrease in the use of the county car asset just because of having lost some veterans, and that need has been not as prevalent as previously warranted. But any questions on the budget at all for me?
On top of page 2 for your education and training, do you feel that that's enough in that line? Because you're already almost at that for this fiscal year with.
It's a conservative estimate, and I know that right now in the current budget, I'm about $384 in the hole. Because I cut myself too short last time. And part of that was I was trying to figure out, and you had asked the question, well, between what you allocate out of the 10K, plus they're gonna give you a 3K, are you talking about spending 6K for training? And I said, no, I don't think it'll cost that much. I went back and looked, and typically it's between 4,000 to 4,100-ish. If I go to nationals and then the 2 conferences per year with the state association, I simply, this year, I didn't give myself enough money to be able to do that. That's on me.
Well, I mean, you have some flexibility between the lines, so I guess that's not the end of the world, but.
Yeah, I did have that discussion with my commissioners. They were concerned about that too, and I didn't want to come in and ask for an amendment for something like this. I still think I'll be okay. I just want to take a look at where that number lands at the end of our fiscal year and see how that compares to what I forecasted. I think I'll be okay. I mean, I'm not anticipating any issues, hopefully, I mean, at this point.
He, on 24, 25, he was about 20,000 under budget from what he budgeted to what he spent, so he had some room. But the thing is, if you if you go over on a line item, it's okay.
Mhm.
That gives you the ability to know what to budget next year.
Yep.
So,
And that's kind of what that
as
was
long
kind
as
of-
you're not over on the bottom line,
Yep,
and
Understand.
like you had 20,000 wiggle room, so. And it almost looks like you might come close to that this year if everything stays the same.
sure. Well, and some of the things too, like unfortunately Nationals has scheduled their national conference 2 times in this fiscal year. I'm not going to go to Reno in person in May. I'm gonna do the computer one because that's another $3,000 or $4,000. I certainly don't have that in this year. And I didn't capture that when Nationals scheduled 2 conferences within the same fiscal year. So that, you know, I'll attend via computer and get my CEUs that way, so that shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, that definitely saves money.
Commissioners, do you have anything you'd like to share with the board? I don't want to cut you out. Comments, concerns?
I would just like to say that it's a privilege for you guys having us here, and it's a privilege for to have Dan as a VSO. We've had some opportunities and times to see some of the other counties, and we've had meetings that counties haven't even shown up, the VSO or the commissioners. So the education that we've gotten through the association is great, and we're also starting to see now something that I would like to see personally is a secession plan. Start talking about it, not something to implement right now, but none of us here are spring chickens, including the VSO, that something that might come in part-time or something to help out in the office could actually show us a potential that could be a replacement for Dan in the way, coming down the way. The other thing that we have to keep in mind is it is not an easy position to fill, and they have to be able to pass background checks. They have to get a PIV card, which is access into the VA, which they are very strict about. So it's stuff that has to be thought out ahead of time and planning ahead, because I always tried to say, I retired and always tried to say to my bosses, if I go outside and get hit by a bus, what's happening? Nobody's trying to backfill these shoes, so every veteran in the county is going to get hurt by us not planning ahead.
And I'd just like to say, I've dealt with a number of VSOs over the years, probably about 7 at different levels. And Dan's the best one I've ever dealt with, straight up. So I appreciate all that he does for the veterans, because my feeling is veterans come first, and we need to work to make the veterans whole when they come back. Plain and simple.
Especially this next rotation when we get back.
Yes.
We will be impacted as a county because there is a fair number of the veterans that are from either within the county or right next door across the line. And some of them will be brand new veterans by virtue of the first appointment. Of course, you probably saw and heard in the news where we lost 2, unfortunately, and then there was several more that were injured. So they'll need some help with that. And I'm trying to work with the National Guard to get a toehold in the door to sit down and do a presentation to those that are either leaving the service or within the retirement window to leave the service, to give them the VA spin, not so much the retirement piece, on benefits that may be available to them, so we can at least educate some of them ahead of time so they're not under the gun to try and soak all this stuff up once they've left the service. So.
And as commissioners, we talked after our meeting in the fall, that we can do some outreach. And so we are looking at a plan to go through the summer. We've already talked about a couple of opportunities. And that outreach might be just sitting there at a table. But someday down the road, that veteran may need some help. And I can tell you some horror stories. That a year later, the guy needs a place to go. But a year before, he was happy being homeless. He kind of liked that lifestyle. A year later, he wanted something different. And that's what we as veterans and an organization like Dan has, that's what we do. So, some of these guys coming back may be perfectly okay. 2 years from now, something triggers. That's why, as a BSO and as a commission, we need to be available at an outreach for them to come see us, and we can get them in the right direction. It's important. So,
I just wanted to add one more in the sense that I've had a narrow-minded thought, which that's hard for me to admit, but is when I think of veteran, I've had to expand my view as it's not the veteran, it's also the family. Because he does a lot of stuff. We've lost a few veterans just recently. Now he's got a lot of paperwork to try to get benefits for survivors. It's also for different people that have a major disability to get benefits for their children. All that money doesn't come out of the county now. Now it comes from federal. Those are entitlements that they deserved and the family deserves, and then they don't have to be begging for something. So it's huge to be able to get that federal money in, and Dan does a good job of it, and I know that several counties around here only have part-time people, and they're trying to get to full-time. And I've known from our last conference, there's a couple of different counties that have put on almost another full-time person without any other help because of the federal monies that we receive in the counties from the different benefits.
Do you guys have a thought or plan on when you would like to look at a part-time position or anything else?
Still kind of.
I believe that's a conversation that we have to go forward with. And we will get the information from Dan over the next few months as to what he needs and what we can get him, okay? It's a long process because this is not an easy job. This is, the amount of information that comes from the federal, the state level is crazy. And so you have to find, number one, know what that person's gonna do so that he's not just sitting there, she or it's just not sitting there, and how we can best help Dan. And that's the way it is. It's gonna be a
Early
discussion.
stages. I mean, I will certainly, with my monthly updates, incorporate that back to the board so that you folks are kind of aware of what we're discussing, what we're talking about, but it's in really early stages at this point.
Okay.
But I do appreciate all of your support, your continued support. I will tell you personally, having heard some of the horror stories of my peers, I'm really blessed, to be the service officer here in Kossuth County. I really am. And it's a testament to the support of the board, the veterans here in the county, my commissioners. Some of my peers, unfortunately, maybe don't always get that focus or that level of support, but it's really nice. It means a lot.
Thanks for all the work you do.
You're certainly
I've
welcome.
heard plenty of accolades.
Okay. All righty, well, no other questions, I'll get out of here. I don't have any locks to fix. All my locks work.
Just to know.
Good.
I have a feeling the lock on your door is a lot cheaper.
It is. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thanks, thank you guys for coming in, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Kendall, you are up next. Conservation.
Kendall, you got any expensive locks?
I have no expensive locks.
That's good. Keep it that way.
I only got two budgets to show you, we'll do the short one first.
I don't know about anyone else, I flipped all the way up to conservation, so.
I did too.
If we could do that one first, that'd be easier for me, otherwise I'll flip back.
Well, we can go to nature center, that's fine, no big deal.
Okay, the handout I give you, I hope is pretty self-explanatory. The right column is the proposed budget, that we're looking at for 2026, 2027. I can go down the line item, the only difference in asking, from last year is under the building repair and maintenance line item, where it increased from 7,000 last year to 14,000 this year. The reason for that increase is we're wanting to replace the decking on the deck outside the nature center. The nature center was completed in '07, so we need to replace that decking. We want to replace it with, instead of wood, we're gonna go to the Trex type of material. We have our foundation is willing to pay for half of the cost of materials, and then, which would be 7,000, and then our half would be the other 7,000, and that's the increase for the maintenance of the nature center. The rest of the line items are the same as previous years, basically what it takes to run the nature center for the year. And then the bottom is the estimated revenue, same as last year, $9,000, and that's obviously from the rental of the meeting room.
Okay. Any questions for Kendall in Nature Center? Okay. We can go to conservation then.
Take one of those and look at the first set of figures before you look at that set of figures. I'm gonna touch on the salaries right away. That's what this first set of figures is. The top page is our conservation board, where we look at salaries. We match up with we go compare with the averages of the county conservation system across the state. And every year our association gives us the top page of a breakdown of all the positions, full-time positions only, across the state of Iowa, what the salary range is, average, medium, average years, et cetera. And then the second page, has a bar graph. That is how our staff fits in with the averages. And yes, I also included, for your information, I know we've had some talk about longevity, so I have years in the position listed and also years with Kossuth County listed. Other than our maintenance tech, which is, she replaced somebody that retired, at least within the county conservation, we have a lot of longevity. A lot of 17, 18-year-old people that have been in that position a long time and been with the county a long time. Unfortunately, our board doesn't feel that the salary reflects that. The average salary, or average years of service is about 9. Most of our staff are way above that, yet we're not at the average salary. So that's why this year, our board approved a 4% salary increase for the full-time, and the office manager position, if you look at that one, they approved a 6% increase for that position, just because that position was way behind what it should be, in comparison to what the rest of the counties are doing in the state.
Which one was 6%?
The office manager. Now, when I entered the salaries, I included the salary increase and the longevity, because there wasn't a line item to put longevity.
It's part of the salary.
Pardon me?
Longevity is part of the salary.
Okay. So it was included in the same line item?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, so that's the way that's what it showed up on. Then going to this copy, same thing, the proposed is in the right column. Do you want me to go down line item all the way, or just the changes, or what would you like to do?
If you wanna highlight the changes,
Okay.
then that'd be fine.
You can do that. Under administration, 610, obviously the change would be the salary. For the health insurance, I just put in the numbers that Tammy gave me. That is for one single under the administration. Other than that, the numbers did not change. Under the operations, the light blue lists the salaries there. The health insurance for that is also 2 single health insurance for $27,935.
Hey, Kendall, just to double check, we were looking at this earlier, but the email Tammy had sent out was $13,440 per year for single. You've got
And 526 for the dental, so it's a little more than, so 27,932 is what it should be for 2 single.
okay.
I mean, I know it's not a big difference, but we don't need to budget more than what we need to.
Yeah, and I didn't add into the dental there, I guess, so,
What page are you looking
Those
on?
should be actual dollars.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
On page 3,
It should be, what did you say, Kyle?
well,
27,932 for 2 singles.
I had 27,935.
Yeah,
oh,
for dollars like that, it should be actual. If we, and it might change, because we haven't exactly decided that, but it really should be the actual numbers that.
Okay.
well, and what was it for one single with dental?
13, I have it right here on this page, 966.
I rounded up, so I had it rounded to.
So your first one under administration would be a couple dollars extra there too.
Okay, one of the big changes in this year's budget, if you go kind of to the bottom of the operations, we did increase 1,000 on the equipment repair, that's line item 443. The big increase is in line item 444, at 50,000, and what that is we are trying to upgrade, get a new pickup truck. We're trading, or want to trade a 2003 F-250, to get rid of that and get a new F-350, to pull our trailer and our skid loader for some of the projects that we do. So, upgrading a 23-year-old pickup. So request, that's where the request there jumped from 10,000 to 50,000 for the new equipment line item. In the education, 612, the health insurance there would be one family and one single. 43,475. And the other change within the education is down at the bottom part of that is the meeting travel. Increase that from 1,000 to 1,500. The reason for that is several of our naturalists and our assistant naturalists are in positions where they have travel meetings that they need to attend that are far enough away where they have to do an overnight. So you got an additional hotel expense. And then in the middle of the second page, our REAP spending is the same, is $30,000. Our conservation reserve is $675,000. As I talked to you last week, the biggest portion of that is $575,000 is for phase 2 of the lake restoration, and of that amount, it gets reimbursed 75%. The other part of that is projects that we have planned coming out of the conservation reserve for the next fiscal year. Down to the income portion of it, the camping and rentals were the same as last year. The REITs was the same as last year. The reserve again is $516,815. Because we know we have money coming in on reimbursements for the projects that we're doing.
Did you talk about the tax appropriation at all yet?
Did now the tax appropriation for this year, 631,586, be up 15% from the past year.
What's the reason for that?
Biggest reason for that is the truck. Have an additional 40,000.
Or extra 50, or yeah, extra 40,000.
Extra 40,000 to purchase a truck.
And then another,
There's another 10,000 with the longevity.
The tax appropriation the year before, with another 50,000 on it too.
it's up 80,000 from last year, 82,000. So
82,000.
40 is from the truck and
10 of it's from the longevity, the rest of it.
then health insurance and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, health insurance too.
yeah, you look through and it's wages, health insurance and new pickup, that's your increase.
It's a little bit much for me to stomach, I guess. Does anybody else have any thoughts?
Kendall, what
Oh,
did,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, I think I heard wrong. What did you say your office manager got for an increase last year?
Last year she got 4%.
Okay, I don't know what I
Same
heard.
as the others, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what I heard something different.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, this year 6%.
You,
Oh, this
they-
year.
They were
Okay, I thought you
desiring
said
that,
6.
your board wanted her to get 6% this year, correct?
I thought it
I'm
was
sorry,
last
if I
year.
misunderstood her question. Yes, they requested that position get 6%.
And the rest to be a 4?
Yes.
Right,
And
okay.
last year everybody got 4.
Right, right,
Okay,
okay.
And the reason for the 2 more for that position is because we're looking at the averages and looking at what
Sure.
she's making. We felt she was way behind for having 11 years of service.
And was 2003 the last time you upgraded your pickup?
That one, yeah.
Okay, do you have more, multiple, or?
What
Or what-
about the sheriff's office truck we were just talking about before? That's a, 21,
19,
or
Rogers is?
Rogers, no, Rogers is 19, but isn't there one that's being replaced now that's a 21?
Oh, 2021, yeah, yeah,
This is a 2003 we're replacing.
yeah. How many pickups do you have?
We have 3.
Okay,
Wait a minute. Yeah, 3.
and this would be that blue one?
They're all
Oh, they're all blue.
This is the big one that we use to haul the trailer with.
Yeah, okay,
We have a 150, actually we have 4. We have
Okay.
a 150 regular, we have a 150 extended, and we had a 150 crew cab. And then we have the brown one we're replacing is the heavy truck we use to haul the trailers.
okay,
The next newest was the 2018. That's the last time we purchased a vehicle.
so you have 2018 and newer for the other 3, and this is the last one that's older,
The oldest, yeah.
okay. How many miles does that have on it, do you know?
It says 99, the one we're replacing.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't get doesn't,
It doesn't get a lot of miles.
yeah,
It's getting harder to repair it when it breaks down, we're finding that out too.
sure.
There's no doubt a ridiculous question that I just can't figure out. So I see the office manager at 49,250, and you wanted to add 6%, correct?
Yes.
And I do 6% and I get to 52,205.
thank you.
Where's the office manager at in your budget? work?
Education, second line down.
No, she
Okay,
means
yeah.
of the
Oh,
worksheets.
Oh,
On the, is it page 4?
I was trying to go back,
That's
it
okay.
just gets too
Page
confusing.
4, it's the.
I'm not trying to do both and forth, go back and forth. So are they different on that sheet?
Did you include the longevity in that, Howard?
Well, that's where I was headed. No, I didn't.
'Cause that's where I came up with the figure. I took the 6% and then I added the longevity, that's where I
So
came
you're
up.
working at this from 2 ends, I'm gonna say. You're putting longevity in and then they're saying 6% because they've been there so long, cause they've been there 11 years.
No, I do 6% because that position, when you compare it, is way below what the statewide average is.
It's on page 4, did you find it?
Yeah, page 4, clerk, is she a clerk? Well, we were, and you guys can start telling now how many times I say this word in this budget cycle, consistent. Go ahead if we wanna do that, but we were talking about a 3% increase and then with the longevity as well, which I think the longevity is a very nice thing that we have added. It gives a pretty good boost.
Mhm.
Your employees did not receive longevity before.
No,
Right.
we've never had it before.
Well, and I think that's the one of the things that I think it would be easy for anybody to have heartburn over of the previous conversations of saying, someone's been in this position 10 years, someone's been in this position 20 years, 5 years, whatever. Comparing positions is one thing, but I don't think we should be giving raises based on years of service when we just set a rate for longevity as a board for that. So,
This is a stupid question, I'm sorry, did I interrupt you, Kyle?
fire away.
Cause I'm the one that helped with this resolution, but why isn't conservation included in our wage scale?
Well, because basically
The reason it is, we have a
conservation
board
sets, yeah.
that sets our salaries.
Okay.
But even looking at that position is way below what your wage scale would be.
Well, I was looking at the clerks in the recorder, treasurer, attorney and auditor's office, and that's at 50,542.47
Starting,
at 1 year. And that's would be more than that.
So I think one of the biggest reasons that probably didn't have it, even outside of the conservation board aspect, was the reason those were so critical at the time was because we had multiple people in the same job description that were at different wages, and you wouldn't have had that at the time, because you would have had different job descriptions, different classifications for each of your staff, so I don't think we needed to include conservation at the time because there wasn't conflicting wages for the same job description. So, I think that's the reason conservation wasn't included at the time.
I just couldn't remember if there was a reason why.
Yeah, because the ones, and there's other positions that weren't included there too, but the reasons they weren't included was because they didn't have multiple people operating off of the same job description with different wages, so.
I guess my question is, would it be simpler if they were all on the resolution, then we wouldn't have this problem every year? Or can we not do that for departments that have separate boards?
well, that's what we run into also with the assessor's office, and we talk with the
Yeah.
longevity, I mean, that, you know, possibly people
Except-
can include it, but I mean, I feel like
Yeah.
if we say they should get it, they should get that.
Except the conference board decision is final, and we can't overrule them as our board, as far as budgeting goes.
They have their own levy.
They have their own levy,
They have their own.
And that's multiple other entities that are involved there, it's not just county tax
correct, yeah.
and oversight.
Well,
Well, but one of the things too, I don't want our staff, and it's not fair for them, it's not fair for the courthouse staff to be compared. Our job descriptions are different, our job qualifications are different. We work a 40-hour work week, they work a different work week. It's not comparing apples to apples, so say, well, let's be fair across the board, where you're not, you're looking at two total different positions, qualifications are different, job responsibilities are different, so that's why our board makes a recommendation based on what our staff does.
right. The only thing is, we're trying to keep everything, in order, so we don't budget a lot in excess due to the fact that, we have still the health insurance conversation that's, gonna come up. I know we said 15%, that's hopefully the worst case scenario. Hopefully we don't have to do that, but we don't know that yet.
Will you know that by the end of the month?
Well, hopefully.
Thankfully.
Hopefully,
We're-
yes,
we're
we're trying to
waiting
get an appointment with Walmart to come, so we're kinda at their mercy a little bit.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's where we're trying to be, we're not comparing apples to apples, but yet we all have the same benefits, there are things that, you can compare that, you can say that, and most of those are monetary, I mean, most benefits is a big deal.
And that's that's part of, I don't have any idea what your board does. Do they compare the whole package, I mean, the statewide average is salary,
They look at all of it. I mean, they look at what other counties have for benefits, and some of it you can't compare to because some of the counties are law enforcement certified. Our staff is not law enforcement certified, so that's a whole different, you're not comparing apples to apples when you start doing that. But that, one thing they can do is compare, the salaries.
Well, I think the two biggest concerns, I guess, I would have are the differences in percentage on top of the longevity change that we talked about and the tax appropriation increase. I think that's, I mean, it's a 15% increase.
Where's that at?
It'd be on the income
The revenue?
sheets, yeah.
That's why I get confused when we're trying to look at these,
Yeah.
that we have these, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking
Yeah, I mean,
at. Were you taking, meaning what was budgeted last year to compared to this year and the difference, is that what you're talking about?
yeah, the 550 for 49 and change versus 631. When we get to the end of the budget and are sending out notices of people's taxes going up, that for one department is gonna be noticeable.
And again, I totally understand that, because we can't get a new vehicle on $10,000. And that's what was in our new equipment budget, we kept it the same, you just can't do that. So if we wanna get a new vehicle, there's gonna be a year when you have a large increase. That's
So
the
what-
biggest portion of that,
What
when you throw
was,
in the
what
health
was used
insurance.
to pay for, what was used to pay for vehicle purchases in 2018 when you got the last one?
We had it increase one year that time too, we had to, but that's the only way, we could swing a new vehicle, because you're not gonna get it for 10 or 15,000, you have to have that year of a large increase if you wanna get a different vehicle.
I guess,
Upgrade your fleet, there's no other way around it.
can we get the history on the tax appropriation for conservation farther back, Tammy? Like 10 years? To see what that has changed over the course of time?
You mean the budget?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be in the
Is
income,
that talking the total amount budgeted versus,
yeah,
Yeah. Last 10 years
yeah,
for
probably,
conservation?
yep.
so I still don't see where you see the tax asking.
well,
Well, it's easy to find on Kendall's page, but,
I didn't see it there either.
It's right here.
it should be in
Right.
the
This is the line you're looking
Okay.
at.
Oh, it's not a percentage, it's total.
it's,
No.
the budget expenditures just for the conservation side of it went up 8.13%.
When I heard tax asking, I heard, so much for 1,000, I heard it wrong, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm even seeing it on here. On the revenue worksheet.
Well, no doubt if you add some up, you're gonna,
No. I don't see it at all. I don't think it's in there.
11,315.
No, not in that one, I put it in this one.
Well, even like the last year's ones. I'm not seeing them either. Would they be under non-departmental or?
What are you talking?
Yeah, I'm confused.
That line, but I'm and that's.
Yeah, but you're looking at, yeah, see, this is the, it's,
What line?
isn't that the, taking into consideration this up here? And that's the conservation,
So these would be expenses,
We're talking the reserve?
no,
what,
this is all expenses above there, this is all income down here,
Seems like we
so,
should get
tax
every other thing.
appropriation.
yeah. Camping and
Six
REAP would
thirty-one,
be down
five
here.
eighty-six, and
So-
let's just see if that's the same as what is. Cause I think the confusing part is because it combines, the expenditures combines the 1,000, the 23,000,
Yeah.
the 80,000,
Yeah, if you
and
did-
that's an increase of about 50%. But,
The tax appropriation is just the total of 610, 611, 612 minus the income. It does not include the conservation reserve or REIT because that's non-tax dollars.
Right,
so really, he's taking it minus the income, we really don't do it that way.
No.
I mean,
yeah, so
so,
so that's just the
that's-
balance of what the general fund would have to make up, right?
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not listed here as revenue or a transfer, it's just the difference of expenses versus income.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I guess in essence, it's more of the deficit of, or the difference of income versus expenses results in that much being needed for tax money.
Well, I mean, and I'm just gonna be honest, like I said, I'm not gonna use the word, but I'd like to see us doing 3%. Because when we go to negotiate try and figure out the health insurance, you guys will have to be paying this, say we change it, or we don't change it, you guys are paying the exact same thing. So I just really would like to see us at 3%. I'd like to see all departments be 3%, I really, really would.
Well, at the very least, for budgetary purposes, when we're starting out, I mean, if that's what was sent out to, I mean, I understand, I think it's good for you to bring up other desires, and there's always the option to get to those, but
Right now, I just
3% for now anyway, is, I think where the board is at, just regardless. And then as we get through the process, there's always the option to revisit if the board desires to do that. That's why we started with certain numbers on health insurance and wages, just so everyone had consistent numbers across the board. But,
Well, and, you know, especially with everybody being included in on the longevity,
right,
you know, that's really, I think a really nice act of good faith on our part. It's a really nice longevity. And everybody's saying, well, we want everybody to be included in on that.
Okay, other than that recommendation, is there anything else you want me to take back to my board? We meet, our next meeting's Monday, otherwise it would be in February.
Okay.
So I would need to know
You have
what
a
changes
meeting-
you want,
meeting
at
next
least before the
Monday.
board
We have a
meeting.
meeting next Monday.
Next meeting is our, yeah, Monday the 12th is our next
Okay.
meeting.
I mean, it's really the only change that I would really prefer. I mean, if you need a truck, you need a truck. I mean, that's
Is
the
that
2003.
is that a 250 or a 150?
50.
250 we're getting rid of, and the one, what we quoted is a 350.
Okay.
Going a little bigger.
Mhm. That's, unless you guys want something different, I think that's all I really want.
Okay, that's what I'll
Alright.
relay to them then and see what they wanna do.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thanks Kendall,
Thanks.
Thank you.
have a good day.
Thank you, Kendall.
What do we got left?
Luke said, we can call him whenever we're ready and he can,
Okay,
Okay.
everybody doing good? Need a break call or call? Okay. Take a 5-minute break and
Okay.
let Luke.
Thanks, guys.
Yep, thanks Kendall.
Thank you.
Let Luke know we're, be ready for him.
yeah, I can let him know.
He would.
Yeah.
Or should be now.
Yep.
He's not elected.
Only elected officials can.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I mean, yeah, we talked about including
Okay, so-
everybody that's not elected.
So,
This year will be the biggest
for
difference.
40 years is $2.
Yeah.
$2, so, whoops, 76,940 times 4% plus,
I think you,
I obviously hit
I was gonna say.
76,940.
It's 2,080 hours, right?
1.02 is 78,478, and then add in,
That's a 2% raise.
I had 2, I had 4, I'm just trying to check his number.
Check your fingers.
1.04, okay, it's 80,000, and then the $2 is gonna be 4160 plus 4160. 843, 84. Alright, I'm sorry, I'm gonna, don't pay it, 76,940 times 1.04 plus 4,080, 2,080, 4,160, 4160, 84, 170, that's close, we're in the ballpark.
Okay.
Yeah, got there, okay. See, I just, man, it's not for me. He's gonna be there, right? Yeah, it doesn't matter. What I do with you know, why, I know you told me, but why does the nature center have a separate budget?
Why do they have a separate budget? Why does he have these separate sheets?
No,
Oh.
no. This,
Oh, why is the nature center?
Nature center,
Oh, yeah, I don't know, just cause it's a different fund, it was set up that way. Why, I couldn't answer that before I got here.
yeah, I don't understand that, but maybe you asked the question somewhere along
I think I did with my first year too, I don't remember what the answer was.
This is the, I'm interrupting what you're doing, but this is what's wrong with when you add buildings and add this and add that, and everybody has their, everybody thinks, oh, we get it built, we're fine, but then, oh, we need to replace the deck. Well, I don't mean to pick on him.
Right.
And that's exactly the same way that UBC building's gonna be someday, there's gonna be something big coming down
Yeah.
and her equipment, you know, we got all that state shed building down there ought to be a bay in there that she can back her trailer into. And
State shed.
well, it used to be a county shed and a state shed down there, and we inherited the state.
Oh.
You know, they got more storage space than they've ever had, and everybody just, you know, you'll grow into, you know, we ought to have. Yeah, never mind. Let her go, Howard,
Let it go.
let her go.
Let it go.
It's only
I don't know what
one.
you're talking about, but let it go.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know, I know somebody I no doubt misunderstood, but didn't we say we were gonna have an extra $400,000 to work with last week, year over year?
342,
Yeah,
342 for general.
Oh, yeah, I wrote it down
110
here.
for rural, but that's,
110 for rural, yeah.
yep.
Well, it'll go fast.
Uh-huh. I know, that's what's always in the back of my mind, when I look at the bottom line, I think, where are we at, and adding all these up, but.
It ain't good. I remember me mouthing off saying that I'd been proud if we'd have held it at 3%, you know, when they came and harassed us so, why does he feel the need to do it differently than
I don't
everybody
know,
else?
it drives me nuts. It actually does drive me nuts when they do come in with different sheets.
Different sheets, it's always
Follow
been
the
that,
ones,
I know.
It's just-
It is,
Well, that's enough of that, I
yeah.
don't mean to beat it up, I just,
No, I've always thought that, but it is not gonna change.
I don't know if I'm gonna get a drink, I better go get it, right? I should've stood up, is what I should've done.
There just comes a point when, if we wanna be treated differently because we're different, well then, maybe we don't need to worry about the longevity, and we don't need to, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
If we're trying to be consistent and include everybody, I think everybody should at least put forth that effort back to us.
yep. Morning, Luke, or afternoon, Luke.
Afternoon, right?
Are you guys getting emails about a behavioral health survey?
Yeah, yeah.
Are we supposed to be doing that?
I don't know if everyone needs to do it or not.
Don't know that I ever have done it before.
Okay. You don't wanna ignore it if I shouldn't be.
Okay. Well, we're all back, so.
GIS is under G.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'm just standing.
That's all right.
I'll sit down.
I'll stand up here, I'm just waiting. Once you guys are ready for me, just say so.
You don't have to stand up, you can sit there, everybody else says.
I can stand.
Whatever you'd like to
I'm
do.
gonna stay in for a minute, cause I've sat
Yeah.
way too much today already.
Okay, GIS, go ahead whenever you are ready.
Alright, so my budget is, less complicated than most, it's just me, back there, so. We're gonna just start with that first line item. Last year was at 71,000, what I'm proposing this year is 77,765, so you see the 9.48%. So that includes the 3%, that the board discussed, longevity in there, and a specific number of $3,600 as it relates to the 911 service that I provide, for 911. So I've been doing it for a while, it's ongoing and moving forward. It's not something that I've ever specifically requested compensation for. I know that the, IT has a 28E agreement that they use, for their compensation for the services that they provide for 911. Again, we've done it from a county point, or a county perspective for all of the GIS, that we do. In return for the GIS services that we do for them, they receive $12,000 a year in grant funding. So it's sort of fuzzy how 911 can spend that. Basically, they can kind of spend it on anything that they want. But I believe a portion of that should compensate the GIS services that are responsible for those grant funds that they receive for that. Been doing it for a number of years. To date, County 911 has received $120,000+ in 911 grants for that. So I believe there's a merit-based reason to request that $3,600 as it relates to the 911 GIS that's provided on top of the county service. So it's current and ongoing, and it's a benefit to the 911. It allows them to request apps within the ArcGIS field maps. So it's sort of an open service to them. It's not limited. They can always take it outside if that's what they choose to do. But I believe it benefits both the county and them to do it in-house. So I don't know if you guys have any, or you folks have any questions related to that or related to that request.
So basically you're saying, so basically you're saying you're putting in the 3% longevity plus $3,600 for something you've been doing.
Yes, I am.
And what is your longevity? I don't even know, I'm sorry.
11 years here in a week.
Thank you.
Yeah. What we will be doing, we will also be billing, regardless of what you decide here, we will be billing 911 for those services from a county standpoint. So I've talked to Derek, we've agreed that we will send them a $5,000 bill for that, for the services they provide. So that includes my service, the software, everything it takes to make that function for them.
So you're saying that extra 3,600 is going to be billed to 911?
$5,000 will be billed to 911.
But out of that 5,000, that's the 3,600 is part of that?
Would be incorporated, yes,
Okay.
essentially, but the 3,600 would be incorporated into my salary.
Sure, yeah.
We can always, I suppose it can be kept separate as a line item. If at some point 911 said, hey, we're gonna pull GIS services, we're gonna have Geocom start doing them for us.
It probably should be kept separate because we have other employees that would have multiple sources of income that way. Medical death investigator is the first one that comes to mind for me.
Or
Like
weed
Carissa-
commissioner.
Carissa and Phil both have other roles in the county, but that's,
Yep.
compensated separately.
And I haven't talked to Tammy about that at all, as having it separate, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to work that out in my head real quickly, but, technically that, I can see it both ways, I guess.
The funny part is the IT has a 2080 with 911 for their services. So, would it fall under that? And so, the way that I was proposing it was in my mind, the least messy way to handle that. But going forward, you could understand that percentage, that 5% of my time each year is incorporated or is applied to the 911 side of GIS.
So, I'm just thinking out loud here, let's just say something happened and a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 15 years from now, you're not employed by Kossuth County anymore. retirement, other reasons.
Sure.
And, the next guy comes in, is it assumed that he's going to do the 911? Or is that kind of an optional, yes, I'm willing to do this service?
At this rate, it's part of.
Is that a given as
job
part of your
responsibility.
job,
It's
yeah,
part of the job
okay,
responsibility.
okay.
Yeah,
The other side of the coin on that is if 911 wanted to go a different direction for any reason, whether it was a package deal with some company they contracted with or something, then you wouldn't want it duplicated.
No.
Cost duplicated, so that's where I kinda think having it separated and trackable might make sense.
Yeah, and the other thing to think about that too is it would need to be separated out for calculation purposes, like doing the 3%. Are you doing 3% on that 3,600 as well, because it's incorporated in the
No.
salary?
not on this number.
No,
Right,
no,
okay.
Next year, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying,
Yep.
is the next year you're gonna, say we do 3% again, next year, we're gonna calculate that 3%, including that 3,600. As opposed to if we kept it separate, then that
but it
dollar amount
depends on
stays
how,
the same.
on how you're classifying though, is it classified as a wage? If it's a wage, you're not gonna calculate, I mean, that's still gonna have an increase if it's a
Yeah.
wage. If it's a service, then that's different, but I'm thinking of it as Luke's saying it's a wage. So
Right.
you're gonna get an increase on that every year if it's a
Right,
wage.
I'm not disagreeing with that, it's the service that 911 would pay for, the services would then have to increase too, because at 3% increase or whatever the increase is, if it stays only, what if you say 5,000?
Yep.
That 911 would be paying for
Yes.
GIS services, eventually you're gonna need that, and then it's not going to, figure in the
Bill them
equipment
for more.
costs and stuff too. So that's why you need to keep it separate, because it's a $3,600 total, because it's part of payment that 911 makes. It's not part of his wage.
Or would you just send him a bill for more?
I would just send them the bill for
Agreed to
more.
that, it should be separate.
It would be.
Right,
Yeah.
and then that agreement with 911 would have to increase to match that wage increase.
It would.
So that's why I'm
Ideal.
saying, like, maybe
Yeah.
keeping it separate would make that easier, because
Well, I think it could still be in the GIS budget, it just would be.
Right.
It would be specific for that set of responsibilities.
What do you?
How long has this been a responsibility?
So I took it on in roughly 2017. Is when I took that on. Dave Patton was still running 911 at the time. The state had just come out and said, hey, we are incentivizing counties to come on board. So at the time, he was paying, and I don't remember the specific number, I think he was paying GeoCom roughly $10,000 a year to do the work that needed to be done for the mapping for the 911 call center. It seemed crazy, it seemed like a crazy number, I'm like, so why can't we incorporate that? I incorporated it into my workflow, because they were also compensating, for that work, so. The first grant, which we didn't apply for, was $25,000, the second one, was $15,000, and thereafter has been $12,000 a year. So at one point, 911 was paying the county all of that money. And then when we changed over to the 2080, IT doing that work for them, that relationship changed a little bit. So IT utilized that grant money in a different way.
And that probably would have been the last,
4 years,
I was thinking 3,
yeah,
so
3-4 years, something like
the
that.
last couple.
So the county doesn't receive that grant money directly like it used to.
So for E911, just I'm trying to put it together in my head, who gets $22,184?
that is.
Whose officer salaries for that?
That's her.
Derek.
That's Derek.
I think everyone that has labor there. Cause.
I don't know, I'm asking, it's $22,184.
I don't think that's all Derek.
And then it's other help, 25,000 for, and
has an explanation of intern,
Yeah,
which
you-
we haven't done the 911 budget yet,
Yeah,
but,
there was a sign project and some different things that were specific at the time.
So a lot of
Yeah.
the work that I do relates to those projects that they do. So it's not just the monthly and the regular stuff that I do, it's their special projects that I help facilitate.
Do we wanna see if Derek can pop in to?
well, I guess I'm just curious, cause it all kinda ties together a tiny bit. That's the reason there's almost 50,000 budgeted for wages in E911.
I could grab him.
Well, yeah. I guess maybe that's the question in my mind is why, if E911 is compensating other people for work done, even other county employees, is that something that E911 can just compensate you for directly rather than us paying and them reimbursing kind of thing? But that's,
Yeah, that would be,
Derek is here, so.
that would be on Derek's.
Okay, what do you got?
So, go ahead.
No, we're curious how the, wages work, with E911. What is, the officer salaries of 22,184, I know we haven't went over your budget, but
Yep.
this ties into something with Luke's budget.
Yep.
Who does that cover?
So that covers myself and TJ when he does, certain things. GIS is an allowable expense as a contractor, so.
Okay, how much of 22,184 is TJ and how much is Derek?
Mine is about 9,000 a year, and then TJ will be about 8,000, depending on how much, time he has this summer. And that will either be him or a college intern doing sign installs, so it depends on what the IT, department is doing. If we're really busy, he won't do as much. If we're not so busy, he'll do more, so it's just based on the IT portion, so.
So how come 22,184? What's the other part of that?
That's what we've had it for forever and a day, so, it was based on what we initially thought it was gonna be. And then there was a percent increase last year in there, I just left it exactly the same, so.
Yeah, cause it is the same.
And it's based on demand, right? So some quarters it's super busy, some quarters it's not very busy, so, it just depends on what's going on in that department.
So then the other help for 25,000, what is that gonna be?
And intern, so we did, last year we did a big sign project, that'll be the same thing this coming summer, so, that's what that chunk is for.
So 8,000 from other years to 25,000?
Yeah, so if you look at the history, you'll see, there's 2 years ago, I think it was 24,000,
23,
roughly.
24.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it'll be about the same, is kind of what we're thinking,
Cause
so.
it's along the same lines of what you gotta do for this budget year,
Yes, correct, yeah.
or upcoming budget year.
And we just can't do a sign project every summer, there's just too much, other stuff going on, so. Trying to
So-
make that feasible.
Yeah, so I think the driving force behind the questions is Luke is requesting that the county compensate him for his services, GIS services that are for E911. My question was, is there a reason why E911 can't directly compensate Luke for those dollars rather than coming out of his budget and then reimbursed by 911 anyway?
Absolutely, we can do it either way, it doesn't
Okay.
matter to me how that's handled.
That just seems a little.
It's the same dollar amount, it's authorized statutory, use of the funds, so.
Okay.
Either way, whether it's a check with an invoice or a payroll, stuff.
It's still the same
It's
dollars,
the
yeah,
same dollars,
yeah,
yes.
so,
And Luke and I talked about 5,000 about, being what those services cost.
Yeah, for the reimbursement,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
the request, yeah.
I'd almost rather see it done that way.
Directly
If
out.
it's a service that's being provided to E911, I'd rather E911 pay for that service, seems
Yeah,
cleaner that way,
Yeah.
that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's less work for me if I get an invoice once a year from the county to 911 saying GIS maintenance than it is trying to do payroll every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But whatever you guys want is fine with me.
Well,
Oh,
but
I see
So
what you're saying.
that's,
no,
that's
the
where
hiccup,
we're,
because
right?
it
Okay.
would be,
3,600
That's what I stated, yeah.
is stated for wages.
Oh, so it, yeah,
Yeah, you can't pay wages from E911.
okay, so that would be different,
Plus
I
the
mean, you
36,
can,
the
but-
3,600.
Would be
It's still through the
$3,600 bill,
county, yeah.
it'd be.
FICA, the IPers and the
Yeah.
social security.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about that, yeah.
Yes, it would add to that.
When 911 has expected some sort of charge for GIS services for a long time, and Luke has held off on doing that for quite a while, so, this is not new or unexpected, so.
Okay, well, that answers some of those questions, yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You good with me?
I think we're good with
Yeah,
it.
we are.
Okay,
Yeah.
decide how you wanna do it, just tell me.
Okay.
If you have any more questions for me, is it?
Trying to think, I'm not sure. For like the difference of Phil and Carissa as medical death investigators, when they put in hours for that, is that a separate payroll, right?
Yeah, they have a different
Yeah,
employee number, I believe, when they do that.
okay.
Well, like it would be a different fund
Yep.
Yeah, cause it would
for
come out.
Carissa
Well,
anyway,
yeah.
and, well, and Phil,
Well,
Yes.
both.
Phil, yeah.
They're different
Yeah,
budgets.
they have different employee numbers for that, yeah.
Okay,
So this is where it kind of came around to, if we provide that services, if the county provides that services to 911 through GIS, which we've been doing, we've been doing that for some time. So my request at this point, sort of complicates that, but it adds compensation to my base for that responsibility.
yeah, I think,
I'd like to talk to Elizabeth and see what her take is on this and what she thinks the best way to do this is.
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be what, yeah.
I can see where it would need to be separate, because if it's, you know, something that say changes down the road, then that, if it's separate, then you know, okay, this was for this.
it directly correlates
It
with the
directly
service.
correlates with the service, and if that service goes away, then we know what that amount is,
Yep,
but
So it's almost like we need, an expense for like the
other help.
911 services, and then you need a revenue in the same department to show E911 paying into
Well,
that revenue.
if
and
it
that
came
line
out of
would
GIS,
be
you
the same.
would
So
have
then that way,
to
if there was an
offset.
increase on that line, there would need to be an increase on that revenue.
But he's asking for less than what E911 is
Yeah.
actually gonna pay.
Yes.
E911 is gonna actually pay 5,000, his portion's 3,600, so
You
the
would
revenue,
have-
For
you would have,
wages,
like,
and then
a
you-
version
yeah.
and all that in.
well, that's true,
Which would
that's true.
slightly adjust.
It does adjust, right?
Not substantially, but it would adjust,
Takes over 4,000,
yeah.
but, if it won't, I mean, it'll outlast all of us, but if he sticks at 5,000, you know, the day will come when it surpasses it, so.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And the idea is that it would adjust accordingly.
from him too?
Yes, absolutely.
The income should.
The cost of services, right?
As long as the state don't swipe it away from us, like they've been talking about.
Well-
This actually probably would be advantageous, cause we'd be spending more of that money and it would keep those funds more.
So thankfully, GeoCom is heavily involved, they've been involved from the early stages of it, so, and they also provide the GIS services for a lot of the counties out there. So they were instrumental in helping kind of structure this grant amount. So at the end of the day, it sort of fits what their maintenance cost is for your county,
Okay.
generally speaking. So most of it, as I understand from other counterparts, that 12,000 is sort of passed through if you're paying GeoCom. Sort of an in and out, whereas we're able to,
So we'd still be capturing the whole thing.
yeah, we still capture, we capture everything right
Yeah.
now,
We're just able to do it cheaper.
much cheaper. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'd say let's cross our Ts and dot our Is to find out the best options or the functional option. But otherwise, I don't have any concern there. Is there
You wanna go to anything else in your budget that you
Yeah.
wanted to highlight?
Yeah, just a couple of things there. So the next item down is the mapping expense, which is the pictometry, the areas that we contract. We are on our last year of a 6-year contract. We had a 2021 and a 2024 flight. Our next contract is going to be, for the same imagery that we have today, is going to be $25,000 higher per year. So my third of that is another $8,000. So later this year, we'll be asked to enter into a contract. The assessor typically signs that for our next 2027 and 2030 aerial flights.
So this is all the imagery, like if I go on the assessor's site and I can see my house, say,
Yes.
from the air, that's all those images.
Yeah.
What is the benefit? I know it is cool going through it, but what's the benefit to the county in having all that? What is the purposes, other than the assessor
change.
seeing what changes and,
And their
oh,
change
Carter
order.
added onto his house or whatever, you know?
So it
That's
is.
to charge Carter more tax.
Exactly, I bet Carter built a chicken coop, charge him more, but yeah, like,
The engineer's office can speak for themselves, they use it, it's always up on their desktop, just like it's an integral part of mine. Parcel management, asset management, they use it, you can see where the light poles are, the signs are. It's every part of what the GIS is built around.
Our drainage maps.
Our drainage
Yeah,
maps.
drainage maps.
Changes in
I've
land
seen
use.
places where we've gone out and like physically worked on something and you can see the hole in the ground where it was dug up at the time, like.
And it's a point in time capture, right? It's
Yeah.
the end of March, beginning of April, so it's a
Yeah.
point in time snapshot
Be-
every 3 years.
Because, why, just because that's your time slot? That's when they fly Kossuth County?
There's no leaves on the trees, so that's for the assessor, right? So they can see
Is
the
it plane or is it satellite?
plane.
It is plane.
It
so
is
build
plane.
my chicken coop in
Yep.
May.
So they fly, this year, they flew next
Sorry,
year. No,
just a
that's
Put
minute.
it on wheels so you can move it.
Let it pass.
Stick it in the shed.
Let it pass.
Well, then it's not taxable anyway.
It's been a long day.
Ask your question, Howard.
25,000 a year.
It will go from, my portion will go from 18,000 a year to
25.
25,000 a year.
And you say your portion,
I am 1/3 of
and who's the other 2/3?
the engineer's office and the assessor's
So it
office.
costs 75,000?
Per year.
Yeah.
It will.
Yes.
It will.
Right
per
now it's
year.
54, it's going up.
Mhm,
And when's that increase coming?
The next contract, so that would be for the 27 flight.
Okay, so that's why it's not showing up here in this budget.
Right,
Okay,
I
cause
can't
I'm like,
budget
did I
for that.
miss it here? Cause I'm not seeing that.
And do they fly it all in 1 year, or do they fly it over 3 years?
Nope, they fly it all in 1 year.
But you pay it over 3 years.
Yes.
I understand.
Yep.
Thank you.
But we
Well-
contract for both 27 and
So
2030.
you go for 2 contracts at the same price?
Yes, yep, so that's how you lock in that same,
Yeah,
that
okay,
same
I'm
price.
sorry, I wasn't
No.
harassing you, I just
No, that's
wasn't,
okay.
wasn't keeping up.
Yep.
Wow, so it's going up. Got a whole bunch, 38% or whatever it is,
Yeah, 25,000, per year, So,
7
for
from
6 years.
18.
mhm.
so $150,000.
I'm gonna go get my pilot's license, okay?
You'll spend that to get your pilot's license.
Wow.
But to your question, the aerial is it's an integral part of everything that we do.
Yeah.
Drainage engineering.
Well, I was just curious,
Assessor
'cause
is
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Then pay for the plane too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, anything we have that has a map uses it. It's,
It's all part of it, It's sort of a standard amongst counties. Some counties do lesser aerial quality, some do more, or right in the middle.
Yeah, I see that.
So, and we have a lot of county.
Again, this sounds like harassment. Somebody said, whoever said what, I don't wanna give it to you. Google Earth is free. I mean, you can count signs and light poles on Google, but that you, I sure use it, dive to this, that's enough.
I
Go
get
on.
it.
Yeah,
Well, it was nice when I had that one drainage question, you know, where I didn't know. You know, I went, sat with Tyler and he took me every single year to all those aerials or whatever.
Yeah.
And you saw the change. It was very interesting. So it was very helpful. I can,
use it all the time.
I mean, we looked at how many years, a whole bunch. I mean, so it was,
yeah, there's lots of
I mean,
different,
and there's other sources for that too, but, I mean, you still kinda gotta have your own data at some point.
Our accuracy is super tight. So every now and then I've requested coordinates from the surveyors for certain things, just because I'm questioning, you know, my starting point for their survey, things like that. If they are following a fence line, when I put it in there per their coordinates and their information, it is spot on. So there's a high accuracy level to the aerials that we have.
Yeah, I think that's worth its weight in gold.
evidently.
Well, they're trying to charge like it is, but it's valuable.
I'm sure it is.
If I jump down the second to last line, the software and the hosting services, just the prices keep going up. Most of it's Esri software, some of it is Sidwell hosting services for our information, for the add-on programs that we use. So that's increasing from 29 to 31.9. That last item, I would like to budget for a replacement drone. I have two. The one is functioning less well. They have a lifespan, the electronic device has a lifespan. So it's kind of reaching that.
Give me 30 seconds, what do you do with it?
With the drones?
Yeah.
Yep, so anything that the assessor's office requests for property oversight, I do stockpile measurements for the engineer's office. We take that out, we fly that as opposed to them walking up stockpiles and measuring that. We've done some for drainage questions.
Thank you.
Yep.
He leaves in the afternoon and goes and enjoys time out in the nice weather, that's what he does with it.
I try
They
to
only fly while it's good weather.
try to do it when it's nice out.
I'm just kidding.
He's not the only one that does it. Anyone with a drone tries to do it when it's nice weather.
Hard on battery life into the wind.
Unless you drive, fly it into a tree like I did.
Yeah.
Maybe Josh shouldn't get his pilot's license.
He has his pilot's license.
Don't buy him a county drone.
I don't think we're gonna let you be your pilot.
I don't think I'm gonna
Well, at
ride
least
with
I'm
him.
not gonna fly with you.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're gonna spend a lot more on a plane or a helicopter than I would on a drone.
If you want anything that was reliable, I would hope so.
Okay.
But no, that makes sense.
And that's pretty much it. So,
Okay.
just to speak to the way that Kossuth County's handled GIS, I think we operate very efficiently in comparison to a lot of our other counties. We don't over-deliver. We're not paying for services for the public that are above and beyond what's needed. So that's kind of where I'm at. We don't spend too much on software. We don't spend more than we need on software. In the future, that may change. There's just requirements coming down the line that require just Esri server, and that's another $25,000 a year just for that piece of software, in addition to everything that I have now. We've not gone that way intentionally. We've held that back just because we felt it's unnecessary. So, but, from the time that I started under Amber, I think it's been run very efficiently, so.
And a very good addition.
Yeah, and I enjoy it here. I really do, so.
Good.
Well, appreciate
Anything
what you
else
do,
for
yep.
me?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right,
Thank
thank you for
you.
your time.
Have a good day. What time is it here? 3:30. Well, we can get Karen in here.
The recorder and assessor done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
And then we missed a few, but we did pretty good.
They weren't big ones though.
No, those are just ones I threw in there, so if we had extra time, we could get to them, so it was kind of just
You were
a
thinking a little,
time
you
filler.
were thinking a little too
I
optimistic.
know I was. But I didn't want us to be sitting around doing nothing either, so,
Perish the thought.
yeah,
Yeah, you'd be real sad about that.
yeah. Okay.
Hello.
Oh, I'm not your last one, am I?
Nope,
You're second to last today. Depends how long you
Oh,
are.
that's a loaded statement. Oh, so, okay, well, you have a chance to look everything over and,
We have not looked at anything yet. so
okay,
No.
I'm there now.
okay.
Anything that you wanted to highlight in your budget for changes
My
or?
budget didn't change a whole lot, I have the salaries, of course, I went with the
Mhm.
3%. I am going to have, the clerk line went down, we put it at 51,000 because it'll be someone new.
Sure.
And we padded it a little for some training hours in there. And then the deputies, I have one at 85 and one at 80 on that line. And also the 3%, and then, of course, we figured the longevity that would be affecting them now, the deputies, and those totals. The insurance, I don't know what the new person's going to do, so I just kept Kim on that. So it's high, cause she's family,
Sure.
so.
Oh, yeah, you want a budget for family.
Budget.
Yeah.
Be safe,
You
better
want-
be safe than
You
sorry.
just don't know.
I just did, yep.
Yeah,
So that's that, I just thought of that, it kind of after effect, but,
so when's Kim done?
April.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was, cause somebody had told me that they heard you were hiring, and I
Yes.
said, oh, I didn't know.
She's, yep, April 25th will be her last day,
Oh,
so,
so for deputies, then I'm assuming that deputy line item is now
Autumn and Christie,
Autumn and Christie?
Yes.
Oh, Christie's going to be a deputy then.
yes,
Okay.
yep. The positions, they're both deputy positions, so she will move into that position, and then,
Okay.
yeah. the other-
Is Autumn the 85,
Yes,
and Christie is the 80?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause Kim was at the 85 before.
Correct.
Okay.
Right.
I know I've asked you this before and forgive me,
No.
but what's in your particular office, what is the purpose of having two deputies?
Well, I guess I've always had them since I
Okay.
started.
But I
so-
mean, is there different, what they're deputies of?
One is the first deputy deputy of, not really of, we just have a first and second deputy, so first deputy would be in my absence, to take over, and the second deputy, I just have, real estate, certain parts of the office that she does, so,
Yeah.
kind of that kind of thing, I guess.
Was Autumn at 80? I thought she was at 75.
She was the last 3 years, 75, yeah.
and Kim's at 80, right?
85, she's been 85
Oh,
forever,
she is.
So it's been 85 and 75?
Okay.
for the last probably 3-4 years, I've tried to get to 80, but it's just not happening.
And you're requesting Christie to go to deputy at what percent?
80, that position would be 80, the second deputy. I'm doing the position, first deputy 85 and second, the position itself at 80.
Today they're 85 and 75.
Today they're 85 and 75.
Well, Kim is at 85.
Yes,
But she's leaving,
yes,
Understood
so,
that.
yeah,
yeah.
But you're moving somebody else
I'm
from,
leaving that, right.
Yeah.
Autumn up to
Clerk
the
is going
85.
to 80.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Christie.
Let her answer.
Sorry.
I
So,
went to the
so
85.
Kim's leaving at 85, but somebody's going to
Yeah, that
85.
position, I'm just calling it, the position will be 85, right, Autumn will go into that. and
From
Christie-
75?
Yes,
Uh-huh,
yes,
and then who's gonna
Which
fill
is-
in the 80?
Christie,
And she's just a
clerk,
clerk now.
Mhm.
So there is an increase happening.
yes. Yeah, the shift,
And the new hire will be a clerk.
yes,
Yeah.
on the scale. And then with the increases that Melissa kinda helped me with that because she starts in April, so it's gonna be, you know, different, the 6 months and things like that. We sat down and kinda figured it that way.
So it's gonna bug me if I don't ask, so,
Okay.
so why not move the new person into the 75% slot?
Because they're not a deputy,
Cause they're brand new.
they're brand new,
No. The person that was a clerk, Christie, I think,
yes.
why not stop at
Well,
75
I've tried to get that position,
to 80?
yes,
I understand that,
and wanted to have the position at 80 and then 85 for the first deputy.
yes.
That was kind of my goal, so.
Well,
I mean, just answering.
Mm-hmm.
The health insurance I discussed, like you said, Amber, you wanna probably go with the higher one, the family one, because we don't know yet what the new one's going to take. Life insurance supplies, I kept that the same. Office
So-
supplies.
sorry to interrupt
No.
you, so in your office, do you have all family? Or do you have
Two of us at family,
two family, two single?
one single. And one doesn't take it,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
so,
So you're budgeting for two family ones?
and, yep, I am for now, till I know. And the other.
Nobody any different, yeah.
The other we know does not take it, so.
Okay.
And the other line items are just inflation, maybe postage. Yeah, we all are battling increase in postage. Meetings mileage, you know, that's pretty conservative, I don't basically do what I need to do for Isaac and things like that. I sit on a couple boards, so I don't foresee huge increase there, but in a nutshell, and I did my revenues, I did an average of the year and divided it out, and, you know, you can't anticipate what is going to come in necessarily for recording fees, cause that's always driven by the market, like I say, every year, it just depends. So, those were my revenue figures for this time. We've been extremely busy with passports, so it's easy money, and we're told that we do it the best, so I pride myself in that. People wanna come here to get them done, but that's also part of our income. So, that
Does
is
the
like,
passports revenue go into the recording? of
it goes
instruments?
into the general, yeah, yes, the public, recording the public.
It's that 07, well,
Yeah.
4,000, 07 line
Mhm.
item,
Right, that's into the recording of public document.
okay.
Do you think passports is a significant part of that, or?
Oh, I could get numbers, I know it's
I
really
just was curious.
well received, probably recording fees, you know, we get $35 a passport, so
Okay,
I wouldn't say significant, but it is a great service.
Sure.
Do we have any ballpark, how many we do in a year?
I could get that,
That'd
It'd be interesting to know.
yeah, oh no, I have those numbers. Yeah,
Just curious, why do you have a specific number for
for what?
that, for that line item?
The
Cause you were at
147.
150, but then you went to 147,664.
I just averaged out what I've taken in so far, divided
Okay,
by
so
the
you
months
just
and
put-
added on what's left in the year, I kind of do that, out of my Quicken checkbook, right.
I see what you're saying, John.
Yeah.
Last year, 150 was budgeted and we went.
I
over.
probably rounded up, maybe I just went by the actual calculator, table what I came up with for an average of what I've taken in so far, divided by the months and added on
Okay.
what might be the rest of the fiscal year.
Okay, yeah.
I just don't know until I get those recorded documents, you know, really what's gonna come in there.
Okay,
But no, I can email Tammy the amount of revenue and number of passports we did in like last fiscal year or something, if you would like with that.
Is that all on the same sheet as far as where you'd have
It's on my quarterly report,
X
so if you
amount
guys
for,
sign off
oh,
on that,
okay,
you just did, I mean, it's on there for passports, you can kinda take that
Okay.
times 4, but I can certainly get you a number.
sure,
They're not, I mean, they're great service
yeah, yeah.
to the county.
Where do we find the quarterly report at? Is
You
it-
guys, it comes through you and you sign it, you'll get it here.
But I mean, is there a way I could, is that on the,
No.
no, it's not on the
No.
computer, okay, alright.
You
You
wouldn't
guys
want
have to
like last fiscal year, just passport, we take photos too, so those are $15 a piece.
Oh,
And we take those, just, some people just want them for visas and whatnot, and they're not even giving a passport, so
Sure.
we're a photo service too. So I have the photo line item and the passport line item. I
yeah,
can lump those together for, say, well, calendar year 25 or fiscal, of last fiscal, whatever.
yeah, that'd be fine, that'd be fine,
Okay, sure. Forward it to all of you, whatever.
sure, yeah. Any other questions for
Any
Karen?
other questions? I know, I'm hoping this legislative session, that we can come together as a Recorders Association and other stakeholders to raise our recording fees, cause it's way past time. Remember last year I kinda gave you guys a heads up and it just didn't happen. So I don't know if, we're gonna see, that would be wonderful for our county budget to get an increase in recording fees. It would have been a good revenue increase. So I know they're going back to bat for that, how that can be, whether it happens or not. But, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
We'll see what the new legislative session brings.
Okay. Very good.
Questions for me?
No, but we probably will revisit the wages and talk about those again,
Mm-hmm.
but
Anything else on there that you need to visit with? Okay, I will get you some numbers on, passports if you're interested.
I mean, that postage number's pretty scary,
The what?
Postage number,
Yes.
I don't know.
$500 increase in.
I try to be, I try to keep it under. I hope it doesn't bite me.
We haven't used any yet this year.
No, I don't, cause
We-
they
to
don't
get
tally it
billed
out
at
to the end of the year. And
It's
halfway through, they might raise the rates for mailing passports, cause they're different than, of course, stamps. That's a whole different ballgame, and they gotta be a certain amount, a certain rate to mail those out.
I was just being a little
I know.
sarcastic.
No, you're fine. I know, just, use as little as I can if I don't need it, but we won't know till we tally that out and, yeah. So, okay, well, thank you guys.
Karen. Yep,
Thanks, Karen.
have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Call Brandon.
What's his extension?
I don't know.
290, I don't know.
Is it?
I was trying to remember.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It is 290.
Very good, Amber. Look at her.
No, it's gonna get you, Brandon.
That's good.
Was that an educated guess or just a wild guess?
No, it was kinda educating, I was like, okay, how many times did I buzz Judy?
Yeah.
That was good.
That was
I
good.
got Christie
Oh,
Sunday.
you had 29.
I had 290.
I don't think it got zero. No, it did.
Well, unless they
Two,
switched phones.
90. I'm just not getting the,
Do you have dial something first?
No.
okay, Kyle,
I saw it.
290. Yeah, that's not who we want, right? Who's Christie? Eh?
Chrissy's in that office.
I don't know, you could try 291.
290. Well, 291 was Brandon.
Try 291, maybe he kept the same phone number.
It depends where he
Actually,
sits.
this sheet still has Judy, Brandon, and Chris on it.
Brandon, Howard in the boardroom. You have time for, come down for budget? Okay. Alright.
Okay, well. You were off. Cause they must
Not
have changed
official.
She did pretty good.
Yeah,
something. You
we'll still give it to her.
I was calling the position.
She did better than me. I had no
They
clue.
must have changed phone lines in there because,
No, I think he sits at 2 spots.
Yeah, he still sits
He
back.
still sits back
Back in
there
the-
and he sits in Judy's
Yeah.
spot.
well, Scott's in the back now, isn't he?
Well, we can ask him.
Yeah,
We were trying to figure out why you
Is
went
it
290.
Judy's
You're at
desk,
Judy's
and
old
then
desk? Okay.
Yeah, Scott's at my desk.
Yeah, but your phone number is
My-
291 instead of 290.
My phone number, I think, his extension's always been 291.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
moved my
yours.
phone at every desk that I moved to.
Oh, they
but I-
moved your phone?
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
So that's why.
Bobby.
Just distribute this quick and
Yeah.
I'll leave you guys alone.
oh yeah,
Did you find it?
I did.
oh, thanks.
Perfect,
I got the $500 for postage.
yeah. Nice.
Um,
Did you get one, Howard?
No, but.
sorry, Brandon.
Oh,
I'm just
here.
gonna-
No, you're
Oh.
fine, we haven't even started yet, so
And
you're,
you'll see the transfer tax line is a big one too.
250.
We gotta do that transfer tax, that's 45. But anyway, there you go, that's last fiscal year, okay? And photos and passports combined. And the other revenue you can figure out, if you have questions, let me know.
Okay, thanks Karen.
Yep.
Alrighty. Yeah, well, we've got your budget sheets in front of us, Brandon, so go ahead whenever you're ready, if you've got some changes you wanna highlight, or anything you
Yeah,
need to discuss, so.
yeah, I'm still, in the early stages of my budget, this is really rough numbers, so, the 3% for my salary, and then, yeah, along with Nancy's, and then my clerks is both Scott and Christie's, so that's only a 2% because the previous year's budget would have been Nancy's salary to where Christie would have came in a little bit at the starting
Okay.
wage, so that's why that doesn't show 3%, so. As far as, I'm just gonna kinda use my sheet going down, I plugged in the new numbers as far as, FICA and IPERS and the health insurance. That is one number that I am going to change. We currently have 2 family and 2 single, and that's what I put in my budget, but, with upcoming stuff, at open enrollment, they could change to a family at any time, so if I don't have that budgeted, then that's gonna, be, a financial, a thing in my budget that I need to be ready for. And, I'm kind of, watching legislative really closely with Senator Dawson's new bill that he's coming out with the 2% increase, so if that were to get passed, if I could only raise my total budget 2%, I would not be able to raise that line item enough to cover that expense there, so.
You're talking into the future.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the hard part about this whole thing is I attended.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, I attended a big online assessor webinar on budgets today, and that was the main focus on the topic is our budgets we're in our own pool, right? Because we have our own levy rate, so that bill would kind of crush my budget as far as the whole 2%. When I'm only budgeting, my total budget's only $575,000. That's like $11,000 I could only increase the following year. Well, one person going from a single to a family is $11,000, so.
Wanna come over here?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, our whole budget's 3% this year.
yeah.
That's what we are, 3%.
3%, yeah. So, that will be something that I think I'm going to change because,
That's how.
I don't know if anybody's going to change from a single to a family, but it needs to be reflected in there. Otherwise, going forward, if they were to pass this, it would take my budget 10 years to recover from it. So, I mean, it might even be longer than that. I'm running preliminary numbers. I mean, I was just looking even at a 3% increase, just in the salary line item would take the $10,000, the 2% increase. So that's something that I'm looking at, and making sure that, this is kind of the numbers need to be spot on this year because it affects everything going forward for the next 5 years, so. Or longer, depending on what happens, so. Gas for the county car, I kind of lowered that a little bit, our new vehicle that we got is very fuel efficient and we haven't you know, we will not, use as much gas as we did with the older car. Office supplies, I left the same, wait, hold on, my sheet's a little different than yours, hold on, let me go down, board reviews the same, Xanning board. Conference board, I think I'm gonna change that, to 0. The conference board, looking into, to the code section and whatnot, the conference board, some of the members that were attending the meetings were claiming mileage, but they actually should be claiming mileage out of their own entity, not out of my budget,
Sure.
so. Mapping expense, been working really closely with Luke and Doug, so we're gearing up to sign a contract for our 2027 flights. And the cost is, is of course going up on that, so.
Yeah, Luke just said that was going up to 25,000.
Yeah, so I just did a rough 30, due to the fact that, that 2% thing, right? So I'm gonna be stranglehold as soon as that, if it would to get passed.
So this 2% thing is, you said some Dawson.
Senator
What's
Dawson.
his mission in life, or her, or there, or?
He's been big on the property tax.
Property tax reform, so they said down.
He basically was one of the primary authors of stuff
718.
last year.
Yeah.
And the year before.
Yeah.
But he's specifically looking at assessment?
No.
No, county government, he's also, so it's a 76-page bill, and it starts out with county government, and then it goes to schools, and they actually wanna you should actually read it, it's very, 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 it could change how we figure taxes, right? They wanna get rid of the rollback, and they wanna figure it on 100% value. There will be no more rollback, or I shouldn't say that, the only rollback would be ag land.
Right.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I've heard some things about it, I don't know all the details.
Yeah, it's gonna change it's gonna change
Well, the Senate,
how we do things, so it's, everybody needs to be watching it pretty closely to see how it's gonna gain traction.
the Senate has a bill, the House is gonna have a bill, and the governor's gonna have a bill.
Yeah.
And they're all gonna come together and come up with a product. I mean, something's gonna
Yeah.
happen
Yeah.
this year,
Yeah.
regardless.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's gonna be a lot of changes before
Oh, yeah.
we get to the bottom.
Oh,
Yeah, and they started this, the Senate bill last year, and they didn't get time, they didn't get it through, but they said as soon as they start up next week, it'll be the first thing on the docket.
Yep, that's their
So,
mission this year.
That's
They're
their-
not gonna let it slide this year.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so, yeah, I'm working with them to try to get, the mapping, cause we will contract for 27 flight and 30 flights, so we'll pay for them the next 6 years. So it technically won't come out of this budget that I'm preparing now, but if it's not in there, the following year, I wouldn't be able to put it in there, I couldn't do it, so.
So,
I could, it would come at a cost, right? It would come at, well, then there would be no raises and I couldn't touch any other line item in my budget, basically. And I would still be short.
You'd still probably have to go backwards.
Yep.
so Luke didn't budget in his because that was gonna be a next year thing.
Yeah,
You're budgeting in yours just with the in the anticipation that you're not gonna be able to budget for it, so you just want it already in there, kind of,
yes,
to be safe.
yeah.
That's not how budgets work.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm fully aware of that, and that was the big topic today is, there are some other counties that are doing the, somewhat of the same thing, and if the bill does not pass, then what was budgeted for it in that reserve fund, then the levy would go down the following year, and it would just, go away.
I understand the sentiment,
Yeah.
If we could split our payments and make payments every year for 3 years and have it more consistent, that would be better.
That's how we do it. So like this budget cycle would be the last payment for the 24
They
flight.
already split it in three.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
so
already
then,
do that.
yeah, so then we're talking our next budget, the bill would be the
Your
20,
increase
the
on this
25,000.
one,
Well, then I wouldn't be, my budget, I could, but that would leave me to leave nothing left in my budget to increase.
Yep.
If I could only raise my budget by $11,000,
And the,
if it were to pass,
and the state would appreciate hearing you say that because that's exactly what they want.
yes.
I mean, really, I'm just being honest, I mean,
Yeah.
that's exactly what they
Yeah.
want, they want counties to get to the point where you can't afford to keep raising your budget the way you do year after year. And I'm not saying right or wrong or otherwise, I mean, this is not an opinion, but
Yeah.
that's what I've heard from senators, from representatives, from the governor herself, is that that's the direction they want things to go. They want things to consolidate, they want it to be tough, so that we are forced to. I mean, that's all, that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and I can explain that. So look back on that previous year, right? We spent $30,000. So that $30,000 was a one-time payment that I had to pay for that was just for Change Finder. Change
Yep.
Finder is an app that they provided the mapping that shows if a house had changed, what changed on it. So a lot of times when we're reviewing properties, we can't see on the back sides of houses. This product allows us to say, hey, they had an addition on the back side of this house, so we pick it up.
I didn't add on to my house. What are you pointing at me for?
We're not,
We were joking about my chicken coop. right?
Chicken
Joking
coop.
about a
Chicken
traveling
coop.
chicken
I already
coop.
told Brandon he can't assess my chicken coop.
He's gonna put it on wheels so he can wheel
so,
it.
you know, I no longer I can no longer have that product again if they were to pass.
Sure.
You
No,
know,
I-
'cause
that makes total sense.
I'm only
Yeah.
budgeting for what I need, right? But
Right.
I would not be able to budget for the new aerials. I mean, I would have to lower something else in the rest of my total budget.
But isn't the 2% on the revenue side? So it's just meaning your 2% would be the growth.
Nope, nope. No, that's the, no. I'll send the bill to you.
Okay.
Send us a link.
Yeah,
I'll
that'd
send
be
you a
good.
link, yeah.
Cause our 3%
It's
is on the
2% on the
Can't
total
grow-
dollars,
We can't grow more than
3%.
3%.
3%.
Yes.
But the new one that they're trying to pass is 2% on total dollars,
Total budgeted dollars.
total budgeted dollars.
Yeah, we'll have to read it. I've heard what you're saying.
Cause that
They
just doesn't make
expected
sense.
to be able to do anything with your budgets if they limit it to
They're,
They don't
they're-
want us
well,
to.
as
That's
Carter-
what I'm
as Carter
saying.
said,
They
their
don't want us
intent
to.
is to stop
They
the
want you to
growth
say
of
that, Josh.
taxes.
That's the intent.
Period.
Well, I don't think.
Okay, well, they need to stop the inflation then too.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is more accurate, their intent is to drive it out of business, or, which, you know, then you get into an argument of people versus property versus, you know, versus,
They're just making it inefficient, because what they wanna do is consolidate counties
Correct.
and make it more, and all they do is make it inefficient. I mean, that's all they're doing.
Yeah,
And inefficiencies cost money.
I don't, well, let's see what else, I think everything else was pretty well. Like I said, I'm gonna have to redo the health insurance now, but, postage is one of those things, it's every other year we send assessment notices out, so, you know, this year it's only gonna cost me $3,000, well then when it's a reassessment year, we go to 10,000, and in the previous year that it was 10,000, I used it all, so we're anticipating postage going up, so I went to 12,000, so, I mean, that's one part of my budget right there, that's $7,000, so, you know, I mean, when you're getting down to the nitty-gritty sorts of things, you know, that, you know, we only budget for what we need, so we change the postage as we need it every other year, so. The meeting mileage, I lowered that $1,000, that was the gas for the car, I explained that. Telephone, I lowered that a little bit, but, you know, I communicate more email than long-distance phone calls, so I lowered that a little bit. Education and training, stayed the same, the court expense stayed the same, appraisals, I'm gonna be reviewing that line item as well. We hire Vanguard Appraisals to do our commercial, new construction in our county every year. We don't have the staff to do it, so, we hire them to do that, so, I'm gonna look at that line item a little harder, cause that, you know, that's, something that, you know, I don't know if he's gonna have to review 50 parcels or 10 parcels, so. I think we've been close a couple of years prior to, you know, to spending that, you know, all the way, so I might end up, you know, increasing that. Motor vehicle, so we bought a new car, obviously not much maintenance other than oil changes for that. And then the office equipment stayed the same, and then programming equipment, I think I just did 5 or 6% on that, which is pretty typical from what Derek has kind of said, so. But if you look at my overall total budget, previous year, 547,719 to this year, which would be 574,159. It's roughly 4.6%, so.
4.8.
4.83.
4.8, yeah, which it'll change a little bit, but, and then we still are, you know, saving for our big commercial reappraisal project in 2029, so I do have a reserve fund balance that I'm saving for that, so.
Okay.
Looking at, you know, valuations, I don't know if you guys have looked at them yet from what Christie had submitted. Previous year, we had 1.782 billion in taxable revenue, and now we have 1.93, so we got about 155 million in extra taxable value, if you looked at that at all.
Yeah, they have this.
Yeah, so, it, just rough figures, you know, it would put my levy at about 29 cents. And last year it was 28 cents, so only a 1 cent, I guess, increase on my tax levy. But like I said, all preliminary, conference board meeting, I think we're probably gonna schedule it for either the first part of February, which will have a more detailed packet than what you have in front of you, so.
At the conference, where are we gonna talk about the longevity?
Correct, yep, so I have that, for the conference board to approve the longevity. So I did not plug longevity into the numbers that you have. I will have both budgets with me at the conference board meeting, and I will show the appropriate budget if that does get passed or if it doesn't get passed, so. Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else for Brandon?
Nope, it's-
Alright,
Alright,
thank
thanks
you
guys.
much.
Yep.
Have a good day.
So Carter, are you working with him to set the agenda and stuff for that meeting? or-
February 3rd, I think it's gonna be something like that. Is it a Tuesday? February
Yeah.
3rd,
Third
yeah,
is Tuesday, yeah.
yeah, I think that's the day it's gonna be.
Well, for agenda purposes, we probably should have something a little bit broader language as far as like formal adoption of what the county does for health insurance, handbook, longevity, all those things. Longevity is a simple item, but probably should be a little more broad scope of following the county's directives, would be my recommendation.
Like handbook and policies or handbook and.
I would just try to put something in language that all those things could be discussed and acted on, and as long as you got agenda language that's
Okay.
feasible for that, then it can all be discussed.
Okay.
Anybody else have thoughts on that? I just wouldn't wanna waste our time at a meeting and say, oh, we can't talk about this cause we don't have it on an agenda.
Yeah. Nope, I am already in touch with Brandon, so yeah.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Yep. Okay, well, that'll be our last one for today, and Tammy says yes, let me go home,
No, I got a lot to do before I
Okay.
get to go home.
but gave us things to digest, and we'll come back at it next week.
Ready to adjourn?
Yep,
So moved.
alright, motion by Stecker.
Second.
That's a coin.
I'll let you arm wrestle over it, no. Second by Garmin.
Oh, garbage.
Josh, conceded his.
Okay.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried, we are adjourned at 4:06.